Alright, this is Danhausen here, very nice, very evil. You are watching True Heel Heat. Probably should have had MJF do this, but here we are.
It's Saturday, and you know what that means. It's 2022, and we are back at it for True Heel Heat. What a jam-packed week of professional wrestling with WWE Day 1, New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom, AEW Dynamite TBS debut, plus much, much more. We're going to be discussing all of that, plus WWE releasing William Regal and Samoa Joe, WWE and Impact Wrestling working together for the Royal Rumble. There is a lot to get into on the first True Heel Heat of 2022. Producer, hit the intro. Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom, SP3. Welcome to True Heel Heat 157, New Year, New Releases. We are here to discuss the latest wrestling news, including a jam-packed first week of 2022 with WWE shockingly releasing Samoa Joe, William Regal, Road Dogg, among others from the Performance Center. WWE Day 1 with Brock Lesnar winning the WWE Championship. Recap of New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom 16 with Kazuchika Okada versus Shingo Takagi, as well as Okada versus Ospreay in two back-to-back Tokyo Dome Classics. You also had AEW Dynamite TBS Premiere with Hangman, Bryan II in a bloody war. NXT New Year's Evil with Bron Breakker winning the NXT Championship. WWE Raw had a fatal four-way to determine the number one contender for the WWE title. AEW's diversity issue and TK versus Big Swole. All that fallout we're going to be talking about. Plus preview and predictions for Impact Hard to Kill and AEW Battle of the Belt. Plus much, much more. I am here with a very, very special guest. He is the man, the myth, the legend from over on PWTorch. You might have heard him over on Post Wrestling, the NWA podcast. He is one of my esteemed colleagues of the wrestling community and one of those voices that you need to hear because he's very outspoken and talking about the topics that need to be discussed. He is Rich Fann. What's going on, brother?
SP3, thank you for having me, and thank y'all for being so willing to bring me into the True Heel Heat. I'm not going to say universe because I don't want WWE to try to sue you, but the True Heel Heat family. I appreciate that, so I'm looking forward to chatting with you today. And yeah, let's get to. I mean, listen, we were talking in the pre-recording. We got Shibata turning into RoboCop. We got all sorts of just wild stuff out there. So this is a great time for me to be on for the first time.
Absolutely. I told Rich before we went live, I was like, they just threw all the news in the first week because they heard Rich was going to be on True Heel Heat. But I'm very happy to bring him on, someone I met through the NWA podcast, fellas. So glad to have you here with us. I tried my best to give you the best introduction possible. But for anyone that doesn't know you, please let them know what you're doing in this wrestling world, brother.
Yeah, sure. Appreciate it. And in honor of my appearance, I'm wearing what Nate suggested for me. I support Black-owned business TVA's t-shirt from when I was on with him for Post Wrestling doing, I want to say it was an episode of Low Key. But yeah, so if you want to find me on Twitter, it's Rich_Fan. If you want to follow anything I do with the Torch, I am a columnist. I host several shows, including the Deep Dive on Saturdays. everything with Rich and Wade. Where editor-publisher Wade Keller and I talk about the news of the day. And the East Coast Cast, which is where I started with Travis Bryant and Cam Hawkins, which is a for us, by us podcast. It isn't minivan friendly, as Travis says, but it is very friendly to the issues of the community in terms of wrestling and just really being real and sharing stuff with each other that might not necessarily pertain to wrestling as well.
Love it what you're doing, man. Always talking about what needs to be talked about. So I'm glad to have you here with us today. Of course, if you're watching us on YouTube, you could drop a thumbs up on this video, share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family. If you are new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, we want to hear from all of you in the live chat. There's a lot going on in the wrestling world, so we want to hear from you. And of course, your super chat donations are always encouraged and appreciated, and it helps the channel grow. And if you want to help the channel grow even more, patreon.com/True Hill Heat. Become a Patreon backer, $3 a month, where you can get even more exclusive content and watch alongs right there on Patreon for True Hill Heat. We got a couple of our favorites in the live chat already. We got Alan Weinstein saying good morning, True Hill Heat chat fam. Happy Saturday to all. We got Fifth Generation Carney saying hope everyone's doing well. We got Frantic World saying, what's up, SP3, Rich, and chat. We also got the Negro Buck, Nick Jackson, saying, first True Hill Heat of New Year, let's go. And he's also, welcome to the show, Rich. So he's happy Rich is here with us. And we got one of our favorites, Rachel Cornell, he says, I'm finally off to watch True Hill Heat live. Hope everyone is doing well. Hope you're doing well and having a great 2022 so far, Rachel, for sure. But we're going to start things off by shouting out all of you guys supporting True Hill Heat on social media, or as well as the YouTube channel and Patreon. Our top 3 conversation starters over on the True Hills group page on Facebook. Coming in at number 3 is Argino Bismo. Coming in at number 2 is Jessica V. And he's in the live chat. And he's number 1 once again, the Negro Buck, Nick Jackson, starting off 2022 the right way at number 1. Our Patreon backers to shout out Alan Weinstein, who's also in the live chat, Alex McCarthy, Professor Chris from the NWA podcast, Austin K, Slammin' Sammy Joe, You My Boy Blue, Yachty, Robert Haynes, and Steve Salvage, as well as Antoine Rutledge. So thanks to all our Patreon backers out there. But let's get into the business, Rich. We got to get into our top news story, which is all about WWE releasing a lot of Performance Center staff and starting off 2022, how they did 2021 and 2020. WWE releasing William Regal, Samoa Joe, Road Dogg, Timothy Thatcher, among others. On Wednesday, Fightful Sean Ross Sapp reported that WWE has confirmed a number of personal cuts in NXT 2.0 and the WWE Performance Center, including WWE Hall of Famer Brian James, aka Road Dogg. WWE also issued the following statements on the staff cuts that were issued on Wednesday to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful. With the continued evolution of NXT 2.0, we've decided to part ways with some of the staff based on our Performance Center. We thank them for their many contributions throughout the years and wish them the best. PW Insider then provided an update with a list of names, including former NXT General Manager William Regal. Regal had previously worked as NXT Director of Talent Development and Head of Global Recruiting. He was also a lead talent scout for WWE and had recently been appearing on screen as NXT General Manager for years. Regal received an outpouring of love from WWE and non-WWE stars on social media. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, the mood was said to be low following the announcement of Regal's release, with talent and others in NXT described as very depressed. There were many who are wondering what is going on and what is going to happen with the future of NXT as a brand. Regal was responsible for a lot of talent getting chances in the company and is considered one of the most knowledgeable people in all of wrestling. He was said to be heavily respected across the board, and it was noted that some of the biggest names in wrestling still went to him for advice on wrestling and their careers. They also released Ace Steel, who was a trainer as well as a coach and match producer. Dave Kapoor, who is also known as Ranjit Singh and has been cut by WWE. He's likely best known as the manager and translator for WWE Hall of Famer Great Khali, but he worked as SVP of Creative for NXT. And Ryan Katz, who was reportedly involved in working a lot of the character development and vignettes of the brand, along with helping a number of talents improve their overall characterization. Then to follow up, after it was just announced that it was supposed to be producers and coaches, they then later confirmed that on-screen talent Timothy Thatcher, Hideki Suzuki, and Danny Burch had also been let go and were now being considered not on-screen talent, but just producers and coaches. And then on Thursday, they added another huge name to this list of releases when Sean Ross Sapp confirmed with WWE that Samoa Joe had been released from his contract. And Samoa Joe had a bunch of outpouring of love for him as well. He issued a statement on his release from WWE saying he's excited for the future of NXT, the talent, as well as his own. He said, and I quote, "Extremely fortunate and grateful to all the young and amazing talent I had the pleasure of working with in the past months. Only saddened at the loss of an excuse to see their continued growth and achievement. I am very excited for their future and mine." So, I mean, there's a lot more for me to discuss, but I want to go to you first, Rich, because Samoa Joe gets let go in April 2021. He gets brought back in pretty much the same week. Like Triple H called him the day he was released to have him come back to NXT. Has this whole big comeback as the enforcer. They have the whole angle with Karrion Kross where he gets, cleared to wrestle again, beats Karrion Kross at TakeOver 36. The following week, basically, he gets relinquished the title. Then the NXT 2.0 rebrand. We don't really hear from him a lot again because of this injury that he had to relinquish the title. And then he gets released again. So before we even get to William Regal and the others, I want to ask you about Samoa Joe and your reaction. We also got to bring in the beautiful, the lovely princess of all the true heels, Miss Krssi Luv, who is here with us. Hello, Krssi.
Good morning. How are you guys? Hi, Rick. Hello.
Good morning. How are you? Pleasure meeting you, Krssi.
Good. Nice to meet you as well. Wi-Fi wouldn't let me in.
I know that feeling.
They won't let me be great. So yeah,
we're glad we're finally able to join us. But yes, Rich, what was your reaction to Samoa Joe's release, compounding after the other releases that we just mentioned?
I think it made sense. I think given what they've been doing, kind of clearing the decks of folks that don't fit. Joe didn't fit. They're getting rid of the indie stars. We're going to talk about everybody else later. When they got rid of Regal, who, even if you don't want him to scout indie talent, still has a brilliant mind for wrestling, I figured someone like a Joe isn't going to be too far behind. And in fact, I know Brandon Thurston over now of as well post wrestling, but also really WrestleNomics, mentioned that February 3rd is going to be the next quarterly meeting. So I would expect the 3rd, 4th, or 5th, we're going to get more folks because that seems to be their thing. I think with Samoa Joe, it is something where I want to hear from him how he's feeling because it's been clear the last few months. They tell people, like, they put him in the corner. It's kind of like Chrissy's back right there. Like, you have, like, some of the toys you want to play with. Some of them you want to keep locked down. And then some of them, like in my case, I can kind of show you some of them, like my son, I just have just high enough so he can't quite reach him. And that's what they did with a lot of these indie talents. And now that they don't want to be in the business of independent wrestlers and kind of build their people, this is what we're going to see.
Sadly, this is very true. Miss Krssi, what was your reaction to Samoa Joe getting released for the second time in less than 9 or 10 months?
I was not surprised. What I said when I saw it, I was like, I already thought that he wasn't even there anymore.
That's fair.
I haven't seen him since he relinquished his title. He was injured. So don't be mad that I'm saying this because no one have seen or heard of him in like months right now. So when I seen that he was released, I was like, Samoa Joe still had a job. He was still there. Now that was my reaction. The William Regal one, very shocking. Very shocking. Disappointing as well. Because that is NXT. When you don't have Paul Levesque, I see William Regal, the next person a part of that branding.
Yeah.
You got Dusty Rhodes, all of those people. You name all those people a part of that brand. He is one of those faces that one of those names I'm gonna name a part of that brand. Now, maybe he wasn't a part of the 2.0 brand, but the black and gold brand of NXT, that's what I think of. And that is very disappointing. He is not only just so who is going to be the person that says War Games? Like, who's gonna do this now?
Well, they already took that away from him this year. So the writing was on the wall. Like, it's been weeks since he's even been on television. Like,
correct. That is very, very true. So maybe he wasn't a part of the little Nickelodeon brand that we have right now. I don't know, because that's what it looks like. It looks like old school, the early 90s Nickelodeon. Let's just be real. Now, yes, we're moving in for younger talent, younger guys. They're molding these kids. So, okay, that's fine. A lot of us are not ready to adapt to the changes. I am one of those people, because I don't think that it's giving us the authentic NXT brand that we grew to love. That's just me. Just me. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Anywho,
no, you're not saying anything that can be considered a hot take or a minority take. This is the vocal minority all agrees with you on this one. We got in the live chat here, Vala B, who says the Mickey stuff seems like a one-off, a solution to a problem WWE created for themselves. She's coming in as a legend more than a knockouts champion. But hey, fans want a fantasy book. Let them. Here's your ROH deposit. We appreciate Vala B. We're still trying to buy Ring of Heat, Ring of Heels, and we're gonna do it for you, and we appreciate you upping the rubies for us, and even throwing us some more rubies here, saying, bruh, how do you fire Regal? Not even like Hunter hired him. He was already in the company for at least a decade before he became a Hunter guy. Yeah, that's the bigger thing.
Very true. Yeah, he's been there forever.
21 years, but such a long time as a scout. Like, he's since like 2013. Right. Like, the golden years of NXT can be all directly pointed to William Regal. Do you think they're gonna really like regret this, and this is gonna be someone that they decide to bring back in? Because Samoa Joe is someone that they decided to bring back in, but there have been many different others, whether it be superstars or staffers that they've brought back after firing them from the company. Do you think that William Regal should be or would be one of those guys, Rich?
He should be. He won't be. And the reason I say that is when you look at Mr. Briscoe, what most folks don't realize is, and maybe they do, your listenership, especially with this comment, seem to be pretty plugged in. When you look at Mr. Briscoe, when he was going around, he was looking at wrestlers. That's all he did. He'd find athletes in college and say, hey, Vince, he's like, he was working basically for free and saying, hey, you want to get this dude. You want to go see a Gable Steveson. You want to go see who is now their favorite mafia dude in NXT 2.0. And they still fired him and hired those people, that last group of people he scouted for him. And so I think, honestly, they're changing what they're doing. They have a guy who's a former CAA mega agent at the top of Nick Khan. Between him and his sister and The Rock, like we've been joking on the East Coast cast, this is a 20-year payback for when Triple H and Shawn Michaels tried to do The Rock dirty when he was a rookie. And he was like, I had $7. I just looked in that mirror. It's like, I'm going to get him. One day, I'm going to get him. And so, all kidding aside, though, I don't think they're going to go this road again. They don't need pro wrestling. They use pro wrestling as the avenue by which they're casting whatever their stars are. And so by doing that, like you're eliminating so many people. Like, for as much as I love Bron Breakker, he was in the family. He's a guy who you like came out the box. He's going to be a good pro wrestler if you give him proper training. The folks that we're talking about now, like the Sasha Bankses, who was a great wrestler that they kept in catering as an extra until Regal was like, look, if she ain't good, fire me. And that's something like when we start talking about AEW, the importance of allies that can put their neck out and put their experience. And as much as like even when Moxley left, the one thing he thanked them for was introducing him to his wife. And so I think even Regal, when you see that note, he's like, you guys saved my life. Because remember, for all the excellence in ring, outside of the ring, he was a mess between drug and alcohol addictions. And they took the time
to make sure he was,
Right. And even like he said there, like, I appreciate you putting that up, SP3. I don't have a bad word to say about the company. So even if the way it's leaving now is fine for him, because the trade-off was, you saved my life. I can still be here for my son. My son's in your company. He's got a shot. And they didn't need to. They kept his family fed, took him around the world. They allowed him to live. Like, he is such a I always love that thing. And so in 2022, I'm trying to reflect it. Like, he is such a grateful and graceful person.
Yeah.
And
humble.
it's something, yes,
Humble.
thank you, Miss Chris. Like, he's so humble. And it's a thing where that sort of behavior is seen as weakness by folks corporately. But in the end, for him, life-wise, he's fine. He's gonna be fine. I am in my perfect fantasy. Like, you guys have ROH, Ring of Heat, or Ring of Heels. I want in a fantasy world where Lance Storm and William Regal and if he has time, Gresham and some of these other dudes just make their own wrestling school, and they're going around building up the few. Like, if you don't want him in WWE, that's fine. Other places will take him. But I want someone who, if William Regal says this is a person that can do the job, just like when I was a kid watching Lance Storm, I didn't know what technical excellence was or anything like specific like we can do now as adults. But I knew I liked Lance Storm because he seemed like I didn't know what the words were for it. Like, he just seemed like he was always doing stuff right. And so with a guy like Regal training, I think they'll be fine. And with WWE, they have that's the other side, not downside, but that's the kind of like when I coach football for high school. You know, you can get a football coach anywhere. You just need a good football coach. And there are a lot of folks out, just good teachers. There's tons of good people who could be good teachers. They have so many teachers at the Performance Center. But it seems like they want it to be almost like, and for those of you who are pet fans, I here in Pittsburgh, we have a place called Animal Friends that tries to prevent the local puppy mills from having puppies to with the idea kill shelters. So they'll they have Independence Day, they buy up all the puppies at all the other shelters, and they're we'll take them on, whatever it takes, we're gonna. That's what we'll get them all. Yeah, they get them all. And so with WWE, they don't want to. They want it to be like a mill right now, a wrestler mill. You got 6 months to figure it out. If you can't figure it out, next person in. And they don't care what part your training is. I got hurt. I have family issues. Give us what we need. In 6 months, we're going to check again. And in 6 months, we're going to keep checking. And so that's why you got Grayson Waller going from NXT 2.0 to front row or Raw in 5 months.
And he's not the one. He's not the one to be in that position. People keep telling me, oh no, he's really good on the mic. I'm really waiting for that really good promo to prove that.
Right.
But I haven't heard it yet. I just haven't. Bron Breakker, that's a star that could be at the front row of Raw. Carmelo Hayes, that's a guy that can talk on Monday Night Raw.
Yes.
Grayson Waller, Grayson Waller is pretty good in the ring. I think they should focus more on that than this whole new, oh, I'm here for the views, I'm here for the clicks. My dude, you got less followers than referees in WWE. How is that your gimmick? How is that your gimmick when you don't have the follower count to do that? What?
And then you make the stars go over there and give him soul brother pounds and stuff like that. They really know him and friends like that. Come, please, we're not stupid. Come on now. Oh, when you're finished with the match, go over there and say hello, make it look good. Why? For what? We already know who that is. That's not necessary. That's not necessary. Who are you trying to sell this to? We see through it all. We know this. And for you to even say that he doesn't even have the followers, bravo to you, because I didn't even know that part. Because I don't follow him, so I wouldn't even know.
I looked it up because I got sick of him saying, oh, I'm here for the views, I'm here for the click. My dude, you don't even have, I looked it up. You don't have the followers to even do this gimmick. What are you talking about? We should also make note, staff at the WWE Performance Center indicated that within a few weeks of Joe vacating the NXT Championship and being made inactive, there was little, if any, talk of him returning to the ring. Joe had settled into his new role as a scout for the company and had helped out with the recent set of tryouts. Everyone who the site spoke with at the Performance Center believed that he will return to the ring outside of WWE, and there's no word on his non-compete clause. Rich, if you were to guess where Samoa Joe, if and when Samoa Joe does return to the ring, where would you like it to be for?
Well, I mean, and to your Grayson Waller point, Homeboy's got 9,200 Twitter followers, and so
dude doesn't even have 10,000.
No.
Like, I knew I looked it up, but I totally forgot. I knew the number just was like, oh, I'm not even looking at this. I didn't even look at it twice. But
so we're not even talking about like Instagram. We're talking about Twitter.
Yeah, and then Instagram, it is more of the same. It's not a lot. And so you got like the two twins. I can't remember the young ladies' names.
the Cavender twins.
The Cavender twins got hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
They should have that as a gimmick. I mean, and if that's the goal, God bless. But to your point with Samoa Joe, I think he's got a lot of easy spots. Like, I want to see him in Terminus. I want to see him wrestling that strong catch style. I want to see him in time to finally get that chance to go back over to Japan, you know, Rona willing. And obviously AEW is one of the ones that people are going to say first of all. For me, I'm on the fence unless they continue the storyline of every Ring of Honor person showing up disrespecting Eddie Kingston.
Oh, I like that.
That was the first thing I thought about. Like, as soon as he come out, I was like, listen, he said it, I'm going to say it. We all laughed at you. He's like, I'm heavy like you were, bro. I did the work you didn't.
I'm loving
and that's the thing. Like, everybody else, like Danielson went with that like skinny dude thing where he was like, you sloppy. I was like, man, you've been eating like leaves for like most of your life. That ain't fair. Even CM Punk
that's also
Triple
very
H.
true. Yes, exactly.
And then CM Punk is like, quote unquote, again, Triple H. One of the worst things he could have said, he's skinny fat. Whatever that means. And he came up and he's like, right, like, you need to work out. And now you get Samoa Joe roll up on it. It's like, listen, bro, I got my shirt. I got nothing to hide. I'm not walking around with like a shirt. Like, you got to work on you. And we did bully you when you were in Ring of Honor. Because we thought you were worth more, and prove it to me now. And nothing's better than Samoa Joe trolling. To this day, I need him to be like, how's Wendy doing?
Yes, there we go. Oh my God.
Yes. Anytime we could get Samoa Joe to say Wendy, it's a good day. Good. But a point here from Alan Weinstein. He says, "Release me once, shame on you. Release me twice, shame on me for believing it would be different the second time around." How is your feelings as far as like Samoa Joe getting released the second time around? Because me personally, I know not a lot of people will say this, and I am as someone that is a lifer Samoa Joe fan. He is part of the reason why I became a fan of independent wrestling and Ring of Honor. I love the guy. I don't feel bad because you went back. If you go back, I'm not going to feel bad for anything that happens after the fact. And it's not a situation like a Kevin Owens. If Kevin Owens was to get let go, I might actually feel a little bad because they gave him, they backed up the bag and the Brinks truck to this guy's house. So if he's eventually let go, he did the right thing for his family. He did everything right. So if he's let go after that, then I'm going to be like, all right, I feel bad. But anyone, like a person in Samoa Joe's state, you were fired and you just thought you were good with Triple H and Triple H got you. You don't have to worry about Vince anymore. That's how it looks from the outside looking in. And you came back and then Triple H got sick and that was your safety net was gone. Your safety net was gone because when Triple H went, you were expendable to Vince McMahon. So I don't really feel that bad this time like I did the first time. What about you, Krssi? You're muted, Krssi. I think you're muted and you're lagging a little bit.
Like I told you guys before,
that Wi-Fi tried to take you out.
I didn't think that he was even there. Am I?
You just it's lagging a bit. That's all. It's okay. I love the frustration right now.
This is what. See, I'm saying like, oh God. I can't be me, yo.
You might wanna restart it because you're moving like you're Britney and stuff. So there you go. And we can read a couple of comments here. We got Nick Jackson saying Krssi, our queen, has arrived, and now she's gone.
She will return.
She will return. Alan Weinstein saying Krssi in the house. Everybody's showing love for Krssi. Vala B saying, hey, Krssi. Frantic World says, hey, Krssi. Rachel Cornell says, hey, Krssi, glad to see you again. Happy 2022. We also got a super chat donation here from Chase Oliver, who says, hey y'all, Royal Rumble quite possibly have two of the best world title matches in a minute. What your favorite two world title matches on the card? What? I mean, are you talking about this title matches, or what's my favorite two title matches ever on the card? If that's the question, the latter, I would go Royal Rumble 2017. That had Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens in a no disqualification match. That was great. And then it had also John Cena versus AJ Styles, which is one of the greatest title matches in Royal Rumble history. So that would be my favorite of two title matches on one show. What about you, Rich?
I would say for the Rumble, oh man, I would have to go back a ways. I would say one of the Brock Rumbles. I would say 2019, I think it was him versus Finn Balor, which was another one in that series of a little dude kept him slipping, and he just for the rest of the match is trying to get off me. And I always love that style of match, and it's always a sign of respect from Brock if he'll let you have that match. I mean, one of the things that came out this week when we were talking about stuff on the Observer side, Dave Meltzer was alluding to the fact, I believe on one of the Observer lives or radios, with Brian Alvarez, that one of the reasons that Jinder Mahal lost the title before he got to India was Brock didn't want to work with him.
Yeah.
And so if Brock don't want to, it's like if young men don't trust you, I'm gonna cut. Like the same thing with Brock. If young Brock don't trust you, you ain't wrestling. And if he wrestles you and you're a little dude, he's gonna give you offense. He's never going to make you look like a schmuck. We saw it with AJ. We saw it with Danielson. Danielson, even though it wasn't the Rumble, was probably one of my favorite Brock matches ever.
Oh, yeah.
Because the way he murdered that man and then just kept looking at him like, the little man won't stay down. Like, he was the one in the horror movie. And so that just fundamental shift was really cool to me.
I love the how everyone bit on the near fall with the low blow and the running knee. Like, that was just great stuff. And then Brock's selling of the yes lock was tremendous. So I agree with you there. We got you, my boy Blue, saying good morning here with us. Thank you for joining us. And Romeo asking, what is this Grayson Waller slander? He is not that good. I'm sorry. I'm just...
They figured out that they got a name and a gimmick that sounds like they should play like starting small forward at Duke. And it's not quite hitting in the wrestling sense.
That's a great analogy. He is, Grayson Waller is JJ Redick in the NBA. Like, he's probably, like, we got Chase Oliver saying Grayson Waller is a 5-tool player. He probably is, but he isn't there yet to be a main player. That's exactly the point. They're giving him all the attention like he is a main player when he just hasn't shown that yet. He's good in the ring. He's getting confidence on the mic. He just doesn't have the best material right now. And this character doesn't connect because if you look at his social media, you automatically know that it's just a gimmick. It's just a gimmick because he doesn't even have the followers to be like, I'm this influencer or whatever. It's a lot. Romeo also saying MJF owes Samoa Joe an ass whooping, so he thinks he thinks Samoa Joe in AEW. I'm guessing from that comment. Chase Oliver agreeing with you. The Cavender twins are going to be studs for WWE. I definitely agree with that for sure. Frantic World says I stopped watching WWE shows in 2016, but I watched NXT 2.0 for the first time this past Tuesday, and I can say WWE is not for me anymore. I mean, I can't say you're wrong. I can't say you're wrong at all. Chase Oliver says shows the respect Triple H and Joe have with each other. That Triple H called him to come back, but if your job is dependent on Triple H being healthy, that's not a steady job. That's not a good job to have. That's not the type of job I want personally, in my opinion.
Well, it used to be. But then everything blew. I think it's a combination of three of him getting sick, and then what went down with NXT versus AEW.
Yes,
with Dynamite.
you're right.
Like the
You're
mission
right.
was failed. Like if you're playing like Metal Gear Solid, like Snake, like that was it. Like once they had to move and they made this 2.0, it's clear Nick Khan has a different vision. I made the analogy a couple months ago, again, using my football coach background, of this was JV and varsity, but when you have a JV coach running a whole different offense than what you're doing on varsity, and the head coach come through one day and he's like, what is this? Why y'all running? Like, we run 50 times a game. Why y'all running this spread stuff, 5 wide receivers? Why you got these little jitterbug running backs in the slot? We run, it's like, I saw one of your co-hosts is a Titans fan. We have King Henry. We run the ball. We don't do this flippy-do, throw it crap. What are you guys doing down here? And so, you had asked Krssi before she had the Matrix tried to shut her down about what's going on right now with like
they didn't recognize their code. They didn't recognize
it. It was just like, it's been a while, Miss Krssi. Like Mr. Anderson, like gotta help her out. She gotta get right down there. It's all right. It's all right. She'll be winning it. But I don't feel bad. I feel bad with anyone losing their job. But I didn't feel bad about what's happening now with Joe, because from just even when you mentioned Kevin Owens, the idea of somebody losing their job, that sucks. But if you go in, and Jericho and all these other folks have said it ad nauseum, you go in knowing you got to turn your brain off when you go to WWE. Yeah. And for me, if I'm Kevin Owens, I even said that when he signed, I'd take that money. If they fire him in a year, I made $2 million more than I would have made last year. And then I can go to AEW, or I can go wherever I want to go. Same thing with Regal. He's had 23-year career. God bless. I'm going to go do my thing wherever I'm going to do it. With Joe, he has 2 years of no wear and tear, being paid. He has his pulse on what's going on in the indies, so how his style as a wrestler would work versus some of these young guys. So even if he just had that, he got a playbook for how he can be successful outside of WWE. And he got them checks. Now, it's not like with Taya, I got issues with Taya. I got issues with Allison Danger more than Joe, because those people sold their homes wherever they were and then moved. And then a couple of months later, that's bull. Like, if you're going to tell somebody, you got to work for us, but you got to relocate. All right, but you better make it worth my while in terms of, like, offsetting the house lost or offsetting any of my costs moving. If it's just you want this or not, I'm going to have to say no on that one, because now that you see this, if you're coming and selling everything, it might not be what you think it is.
Yeah, you're going to have to think otherwise, and people are about to, like, people like Allison Danger, she's probably been wanting this opportunity for a long time. So when it came, she kind of jumped for it. But you got to think otherwise about like kind of dropping your life and your family life, because her kid just started school this week. Like that's a little outrageous. One thing I do want to ask before we move on here, Rich, do you believe Triple H would ever leave WWE due to how his team is being dismantled in NXT?
No, because he's, and that's the thing that's different than any other promoter or pseudo promoter. Because you got to realize, like, NXT was a promotion, but between all of us, we realized like they had like we talk about AEW and WWE billionaire. It's like, no, this was like a side project that was funded by like a giant monster, corporate monster. Yeah. Regardless of whatever happens with Triple H, he gonna be all right. My man got hundreds of millions of dollars as a key exec. All his stock options, whenever they do sell, and I think a lot of this is towards sell, he's gonna make an obscene amount of money. And so until that happens, bide your time. If you want to get back in the wrestling business after Pop sells and they don't want you like in the new company or whatever, cool. But until then, this is like watching a real-time version of Succession. You don't need to get him mad right now. You don't need to be on Vince McMahon's bad side. You don't need to be on your wife's bad side. Like,
exactly.
Take the L, play with your family. Like, as Joe said, go be a family man for a little bit.
Yep. Do what you got to do, but you don't want to go opposite Vince. Welcome back, Krssi.
The Matrix is undefeated. I said slap around Mr. Anderson. You had to slap around Anderson and Smith a little bit. They were messing. You even got the green and white background behind. It was perfect. Yeah.
She had to, go talk to Niobe and make sure that she had the council's approval to fight them. Yeah, So she did her thing. She did her thing.
I need that laugh. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I need that. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, we got a super chat donation here. What will be the legacy of Triple H's NXT? In my opinion, his legacy will be the women's division, because he not only changed the women's division in NXT and elevated it there and made it important, that was able to translate onto the main roster. Also, his legacy will be a part continuing the change in in-ring style for WWE. The WWE in-ring style was kind of changed by guys like CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, and these are guys that Triple H for a long time were fighting against behind the scenes, and when he became in charge of NXT, he embraced it. He put the first title on a guy like Seth Rollins that is a direct predecessor to those two guys, and then he continued that on with signings of Finn Balor, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens. The list goes on and on. So what I would say is his legacy. Krssi, what about you? What will be the legacy of Triple H's NXT to you?
I can totally agree with everything you just said. The women's division, of course, for sure, putting them in the forefront, making them main event, certain takeovers and things like that. Just putting the women, giving them a platform to do more than they could have done. Being a part of the division where we weren't getting a lot of shine, even on the main rosters. They weren't getting that much shine. So when they're in NXT and they see these girls doing it, and you're like, wow, these girls are really wrestling. We're not just having little 2-3 minute matches here and there, things like that. We're putting on main event type of matches. We're having matches and things in cages and things like that. So I think that's his legacy. He Triple H has a legacy beyond NXT as well. So besides that, I think the women's division, giving guys those chances that weren't the big guys. You didn't have to be a big guy to be a champion. Things like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. What about for you, Rich?
I think, and hearing Miss Krssi talk about it, I wanted to kind of qualify. Other than the end of Ring of Honor, which surpassed it in the men's division, I think Triple H's NXT provided North America, and then by proxy the WWE, the most diverse in body type, ethnicity, national origin, roster of wrestlers, particularly with the women, but throughout. Yeah. If we don't have FCW, if we don't have Dusty down there with him, we don't have Big E. We don't have most of 2/3 of the roster that are main eventers right now, outside of the lifers like Brock that they brought back, are NXT people. So as much as Vince can say he failed against AEW, he succeeded in giving him the Kevin Owenses, giving him the Sami Zayns. Now, those guys were great in the indies. I'm not saying he discovered them, but he did what years ago they never would have done in terms of putting those people on national television in prominent roles. AJ Styles, the Bullet Club becoming, Styles is like pseudo faction.
Yeah.
Introducing Japanese talent in a way I never thought he would do. Like Asuka, she is by far one of the greatest women they've ever signed and put on television. And her English has never been the best, but she has never been shown as anything but the best.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's, to me, Naomi. When you look at the way that you look at Bianca Belair, she is an exact example of what they're talking about. Same thing with Big E. Former athlete, will teach you how to wrestle, will put you on TV and let your personality shine.
Yep.
Those are those people. The horsewomen. Even when you look at Bayley being trusted to turn heel and do what she's done now. That's I never thought she had that in her. I thought it was going to be, she was going to be the baby face that makes them like Hulk Hogan money. I'm sorry, Terry money. Can't be given him by his, he don't get that name no more. He's Terry.
Ooh, I like that. We can't give him that name.
This is my first time on, so I had to wear this shirt and honor my man, Nate, because he got me a TVA. I support black-owned businesses. Next time I come on, I'll wear my East Coast Cast shirt that says "Nice try, Terry."
Okay.
We gonna call him Terrence. We're gonna call him Terrence.
Terrence from Florida.
I love that. We can't even he can't even have that name no more because he's tarnished what everyone has loved about that person. Oh my God, I love that. Thank you.
Terrence Bollea. Terrence Bollea out here.
Love that.
Streets.
Yes, he can't even be Hulk Hogan anymore. Like you can't even say the name without spitting. It's just like you just don't like yeah.
Definitely understand, but of course we will probably be talking more about more WWE releases or changes to NXT as the year goes on. I want to highlight a couple of your comments here, a couple of Grayson Waller fans like Alan Weinstein here. We also got Nick Jackson who says, "Not the Matrix. You're killing me, Rich. You're killing me."
Listen, while you were going, I was just waiting. I was like, the little numbers are coming down. I'm like, she fighting in there. She is fighting.
I was literally fighting in here. Seriously, I was just like, oh my God, like what is this? Ugh.
Alan
like
Weinstein,
you said, I didn't even point out the green and white that's on my son's wall. That's so funny.
Alan Weinstein says, "Miss Neo love." We also got Dion Chua says she's back. Everyone is excited.
I feel like Thanos because he has the Thanos hand in here, so I feel like the Thanos like snapped me out of here too. So it's just funny, yeah.
There you go. Dan saying Ronda made the women more. I feel when she was in UFC and due to her box office success, that's when WWE embraced
anymore. No, thank you.
Embraced women's wrestling. Triple H did give opportunities, but he never got it to the top. And Dan, you're correct. I mean, Ronda, I've been saying this for a while now, that Ronda is the reason why they finally was like, you know what, let's give them the main event of WrestleMania, let's go to that far. Just saying, that's WWE. I'm not saying that's the reason why the women deserved it. I'm saying that's the reason why WWE did it.
Well, I think it's two things. I think on the first end, Ronda they brought in just like they brought Brock back because they wanted those Fox deals, they wanted that big money. But Ronda wouldn't have been successful if you didn't have the infrastructure that Triple H built with those women. Because if that was the Divas area women, no offense to most of them, but you couldn't have gotten that. I know she's coming back for the Royal Rumble, but Kalisha would not have been able to do. That's Kelly when she's tanned up.
Kalisha.
She couldn't have brought that to Ronda. She couldn't have done what any of these other women were doing. Like, just like we have Mandisha down in NXT 2.0 now. Kalisha coming back.
We changing everybody. We changing everybody's name out here.
I'm happy someone is bringing this up because the Divas era was... I can thank people for the Divas era, but let's just call the Diva era what it was. It wasn't much. Like, you had some girls that fought to do good matches, but we had a belt that was a butterfly. Like, what credit did you give these ladies? Like,
hey, all I will say is that Evolution was not selling tickets until they made a main event of Ronda versus the face of the Divas. So I don't know. Might sound crazy to me. But Nick Jackson says, completely agree with all that Sid said, as well as how incredible and special most of those takeovers special were. Cards that would blow main roster pay-per-views out the water. It felt so special.
It was takeovers that were better than WrestleManias.
Yeah, most definitely. Who won the WrestleMania weekend? Saturday. We had Saturday and Sunday. We was ready. Then they made it to like the Hall of Fame was Friday. We had the whole weekend ready. Who was winning the weekend? NXT won most of those weekends. Yeah. Of course,
hands down.
I mean, even at Jerry World, I was there for that one with my guys from the East Coast cast. The debut of Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yep.
People lost their minds as much as the Hardy Boys
did
when they were in. I'm like. Like that's nuts to me. Or when that first takeover happened that wasn't televised and Vince was there and people were chanting better than Mania and he was feeling some kind of way and Triple H had to be like, keep this down.
Like chill. Don't blow the spot up.
Yeah.
Like imagine that. You sitting there, you would be like I was thinking that the one gif where the woman's like he tried not to do it. He tries
the girl from Top Model. Yep, she was like,
yes, and that's what he's trying to do.
Yep, that's the one.
And he's like everybody else behind him. He's like, don't they just crazy events? Everybody else is like they're dancing behind. Like I wish I was independently wealthy because I would have like a sketch comedy show where we would do stuff like this. Because it would be just people wilding out behind, like dancing behind Vince. It'd be like.
chill.
You embarrass me right now. I'm trying to get this, like, get them on board. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I like that, Nick. I hope every soda Terrence drinks is flat.
That's the type of energy we want for Terrence right there. Alan Weinstein said, he says the legacy of Triple H's NXT is being the best promotion in wrestling from 2014 through 2019 until AEW came along, being the best show and promotion WWE has ever had for NXT takeovers that were the best pay-per-views for several years. So yes, that is a nice way to close up this conversation, but I'm sure we will be talking about this again on True Hill.
Yeah.
But let's get into what we missed. What we missed, of course, was a huge week of big shows in professional wrestling. First with the New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom 16, nights 1, 2, and 3. On night 1 saw Kazuchika Okada defeat Shingo Takagi to win the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship in an excellent main event. You also had El Desperado pull off an upset over Hiromu Takahashi to retain the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title.
Why he looks like that?
I was gonna wait, but
oh, okay.
Rich, New Japan has been shutting people down, out in these streets, whether it be social, face, so whether it be social media or on YouTube. So we got a copyright strike for New Japan for putting their fair use photos as a thumbnail. So we have banned any fair use photos on True Hill Heat. So now we use stick figures for all of New Japan.
I love it. Why my man looked like his nose? I mean, it was already broken, but it looked even more broke.
He made it that way, probably. El Desperado pull off an upset over. That's Shingo, by the way. He pulled off an upset over Hiromu Takahashi to retain the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. He also had Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi defeat Dangerous Tekkers to win the IWGP Tag Team titles. Evil beat Tomohiro Ishii to win the Never Openweight Championship in an awful bout. Probably the worst Ishii match you will ever see, and I blame it all on Evil. Shibata made his triumphant return, defeating Ren Narita. And then night 2 was even better. I felt like night 1 was the weaker of the nights. It was a pretty good show, but it just didn't feel like Wrestle Kingdom. Night 2 did, and that was capped off by an amazing Okada Ospreay Tokyo Dome classic main event with the Rainmaker defeating Ospreay to retain the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Hiroshi Tanahashi nearly killed Kenta to win the IWGP United States Heavyweight title in a no DQ match. If you ever want to see one of the funniest moments ever, and I'm talking about Kenta building a ladder in the middle of a match, watch this match. This is the match you want to see, ladies and gentlemen. Tetsuya Naito beat Jeff Cobb in a very good match. Sonata beat Great Khan. The ladies of Stardom pulled off a barn burner with Tam Nakano and Saya Kamatini. Beat Starlight Kid and Mayu Iwatani. And then night 3 saw New Japan Pro Wrestling defeat Noah 6 wins to 4 losses, 1 tie in the series on the 3rd night of Wrestle Kingdom this morning. Rich, I know you did some reviewing of Wrestle Kingdom for PWTorch. What was your thoughts overall on the 3-night event, and what was your what would you say was the best match across those 3 nights?
Well, I will recommend the main event of this morning's show, the tag match between Okada and Tanahashi versus Kiyomiya and Muto. I thought that was pretty good. It's about 35-40 minute match, so you gotta make sure you got time. Get that morning coffee, limber up, be ready for it, because it ain't gonna be a walk in the park. Outside of that, I think on night 2, the Stardom match, Starlight Kid and Mayu Iwatani versus the 2 ladies from oh my god, my brain stopped working.
Nakano, it was Nagano and Kamatini, I think.
Yeah,
that was the name. Yeah.
So Tam, they had just wrestled each other for the Stardom secondary title, and so the story was all 4 women. It was like WWE in that you had 2 women who didn't like each other, but unlike WWE, they explained in the commentary that the rule was they pulled their names out of a hat, like to represent Stardom. And the one thing they all took from it was, if you go out there, all beef is squashed until after the match. We just here to wrestle. And so Starlight Kid and Iwatani had been a tag team that broke up. And they just went back to doing their old tag stuff. And I like the idea of, it was, again, for the team. It's kind of like what they try to do with the Survivor Series, but never quite pull off with WWE. It's like, no. This is about the stardom. Like, the name on the front, not the name on the back. Like, go full old school, coach. And so I thought those women saved. Like, not saved. That's a little much. But I thought that was one of my best matches of night 2. Because this is the first time that the women were in a live show instead of the dark match in New Japan. I really liked the Okada matches, whether it was against Shingo or Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay's half crazy. He might talk half crazy on Twitter, but in wrestling, he is full crazy. My man took a 14-foot moonsault off a girder.
Yes.
That was like the difference between like my finger hitting my microphone in terms of like how much level, like if you miss, you're dead. And he hit that thing perfect. And he just spent that whole match like, oh, y'all want to talk about me? You're going to say I'm going somewhere else? I'm going to show you who you forgot about. And Okada's just like, all right, let's wrestle. You don't need to be doing none of this talking tough stuff in the middle of the match, or like, let's come on. Wait, this is what we're here to do, son. Let's go. And so I thought those 2 nights in particular, night 1, I mentioned when we were talking in the pre-show, dealing with Shibata being a G enough to say, yeah, I know we said my brain's scrambled and we're not supposed to, but we're gonna have a regular match. And then the president the next night on Twitter is like, yeah, he cool. I ain't mad at him. So that was just wild to me. I've never seen somebody be like I couldn't imagine that in the NFL. Yeah, I know, like right now Antonio Brown's wilding. It's like, yeah, I know y'all told me I need to come out there. I want to take all my clothes off, get out there, and then you have like, Bruce Arians like, yeah, we cool. He just got a little hot. We all get hot, right? He just had to take that shirt off. Yeah, and that's what they did with this man whose brain, I know Dave Meltzer said his brain was physically out. I even put on Twitter like a picture of RoboCop's brain from RoboCop 2. The noodles didn't fall out the bucket, all right? The noodles were not out of the bowl.
He was like, oh man, it slipped.
Yeah, it's like, that's not, he had surgery. They had to like fix it, but it's not like at any point my man was just like an empty husk and they put a replacement brain in. I want to clear that up. I know sometimes people are like wrestling media, but I want to make sure facts.
Facts are being told here. Yeah, I totally agree with a bunch of what you said. Okada Ospreay was fantastic. That or what we saw on AEW Dynamite is my early match of the year, because those 2 matches, seeing them both in the same day was amazing. And of course, seeing Okada return to his rightful place as the Rainmaker, as the top of New Japan, like Chase Oliver says here. Okada is back. You also had Dan said, I lost my mind, Okada versus Ospreay. And that is a great way to describe how I reacted to Okada versus Ospreay.
What the fuck?
Wait for when he hits the drop kick. It's got to be at a key moment, I guarantee it.
And that was a great kick out by Okada, like last moment. Oh no. I can't tell if he's bleeding.
Oh God! Oh, he ate it! Oh, landslide! Rainmaker!
Yeah.
1, 2.
Yeah, he wasn't kicking out of that one.
Go! Let's go!
Yes, that was my somewhat muted reaction at 6 a.m. in the morning.
I'm about to say you didn't hold in your reaction at all. I hope no one was delayed or we were behind on each other.
I slept on the couch that night, so just to let everybody know.
Smart man. Better start there than end there.
Right. Exactly. I was already there, so she was like, "You can stay your ass there." We also got Nick Jackson saying Okada is back on top. We also got Vala B saying unsafe worker Tanahashi. My God, that match was insanity. Like, just Tanahashi dropping Kenta off a 20-foot ladder dropping down to the ring face first into a garbage can, and then he's just leaking and like the high five flow off the ladder with no referees holding it. Because if you know WWE, if you pay attention, the WWE always got people holding the ladder. A lot of different promotions do that. New Japan had nobody holding that shaky ass ladder that Tanahashi had to climb up this way, then turn around to do the high fly. I was just like, yo, this is nuts. This is nuts.
I need to see that.
It was nuts. And the other side of nuts was Evil Stinks, Chase Oliver. My God, out of all of the LIJ dudes you wanted to force, why not the Great Sonata? And Dion Chua saying that ladder's huge. It was ridiculous. And Honest Beyond Reasonable saying really enjoyed your watch along SP3 and reactions, especially the main event night 2. It was great to have you guys on in the background. We appreciate it. We are always here for the major events from New Japan, AEW, WWE. Romeo saying Ospreay is the best in the world. Do you think Ospreay is the best in the world right now, Rich?
I think he's one of. I won't say best. I think there's he's got. One of my colleagues
on top with a couple of guys, right?
Yeah. Like he's in the conversation. Like I don't want to turn into one of those ESPN things, but for me, it's not like he can be the best because I'm very turned off by his character. The wrestling is fantastic, but the character where, one of my colleagues at the Torch, Alan 4L, who's been following European wrestling and following Ospreay for years and years and years, he says he's trying to be like, basically the hard man, which is like a UK term for like basically a tough guy, like Vinnie Jones in literally any movie with Guy Ritchie, like the big hard, like it's not you, man.
Yeah.
You the geeky dude who's dressed like Assassin's Creed that can do flips. It's cool. Just be you. You ain't gotta be walking through like this is I'm trying to think of the movie that came out when I was in college where the dude pretended like he moved schools, that he was in jail for a little bit. It was DJ Qualls, the little skinny white dude.
With the dude from Road Trip. The dude from Road Trip, right? I know I forget the name, but I know the movie. Yes.
Yeah, so that's basically what
Eddie
Ospreay
Griffin
did. Like, yes, he is. He plays the dude who actually is from prison, who's trying to teach him how to be like a hard dude. Or even the movie that just came out a couple of years ago, Will Ferrell, Get Hard, where it's the same story, same style of movie. Like somebody tried to do that with Will Ospreay, but it's like, come on, man.
No, it was Kevin Hart that taught him. Yeah. Absolutely, but we also got Romeo telling us that rooting against Okada is demoralizing. Yes, it was for him. It was for him that night. We also got Steve Monkman saying, "I want to see Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay. That would be fantastic." We also got Nick Jackson ready to see Okada and Naito running back. It was Naito who came out and challenged Okada following his win over Ospreay on night 2. Chase Oliver saying that Okada is the best in the world. He just reminded us all of us this weekend. I do agree there. And EBB says, I think it's Danielson, Omega, Okada, and Shingo. That's my 4 right now. Ospreay, for some of his kits, don't hit as much as I want them to. He is phenomenal, but just a level below. Wow. Okay. That's a hot take. I like it. But that wasn't the only event that we had over the week. WWE Day 1, the first pay-per-view of 2022 for WWE, had Brock Lesnar defeating Big E, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and Bobby Lashley in a fatal 5-way to win the WWE title after Roman Reigns tested positive for COVID-19 and was pulled from the show. The Usos defeated the New Day to retain the SmackDown Tag Team titles. Becky Lynch beat Liv Morgan to retain the Raw Women's Championship. And you also had Edge defeating The Miz thanks to a distraction from his wife, the returning Beth Phoenix. What did you think about WWE Day 1, Krssi? And of course, specifically, Brock Lesnar becoming the WWE Champion after not even being in the match before 6 p.m. on January 1st.
I hated Day 1, first of all. I thought it was trash. Throw it in the garbage. We should have just had Royal Rumble. We didn't need Day 1. I enjoyed the last match. I think that was the best thing of the whole show. Point blank period. That was the best thing of the whole night. I thought the whole interactions between all the guys were great, even though Brock was in the match at 6 p.m. that night. Like, okay, great. So we're not even going to wait. And then we're going to give him we're going to let him win as well. Great. No problem, guys. Good job. Great booking. You did a wonderful job.
Love that.
Show. Throw it in the garbage. Worst of the 2022 so far. And we've only had one.
I was about to say, like, where's the 2022? We're 8 days in.
Yep.
Rich,
Garbage.
what was your reaction to Big E losing the WWE Championship, and what do you think is next for Big E?
I was disappointed, especially when the news came out through the Observer, Fightful, and some other outlets that the plan had been with the four-way for him to retain, and ultimately lead to him and Seth around Mania.
Yeah.
And then it even was compounded when I see on SmackDown that not only is Roman back, but he's back and he's like back. Like, I thought it was like, listen, so y'all had you couldn't just chill for a week. And just like, let's just sit back and see what happens. And then he couldn't. On top of that, you couldn't even give me Brock helping the New Day win the tag titles, so he could give a little. I joked on Twitter last night, give a little wink to Kofi and be like, we even.
Nah, that's too much fan service. That would be too good and make too many fans happy. No.
I said this last night on our review of SmackDown. I said it all. Like, it you made Roman come out 1 week. He looked very weak by himself. He didn't look like the head of the table when he came out by himself. If you beat COVID, if you had COVID, you probably still have it lingering in there. Those 5 days, please don't give me that bullshit. And they was face to face like this. Anywho, that's another story. It just made him look very, very weak. If we're built, this guy's supposed to be big and he's supposed to be our tribal chief. He's supposed to be that guy. He didn't look like that guy last night.
No, they had him like a CW love triangle. Because first he was like, Paul, you a punk. He's like, don't you talk to Paul that way.
I
compared it to.
Go ahead.
I compared it to the Mega Powers. Paul Heyman's was Miss Elizabeth. You had Macho Man on one of the other side. You had Terrence on the other side. They had their 3-ring triangle where they're in the middle, and this is what happened. Tell me if I'm not lying. Tell me I'm not lying.
Listen,
can we get a round of applause in the live chat for Miss Krssi Luv?
Thank you. I appreciate. Thank you.
Playing the role of Terrence.
Yep. On
playing the role of Terrence is Brock Lesnar. Playing the role of Randy Poffo is Roman Reigns, and Miss Elizabeth, Paul Heyman. That is great. That I compared them on Smack Talk to Pacey Dawson and Joey, but that's better. That's better. That's even better. I do agree there.
And if they make a shirt of that, you need to pay me. You gotta pay me because I said it first.
And that's a perfect segue. Like Krssi said, Krssi and Romeo and Josh, you can now see them review SmackDown over on the Teddy Turnbuckle YouTube channel. We are collaborating with the YouTube channel by Steve Fall of NBC, where we will be reviewing SmackDown every week. And you guys did an excellent job last night, Miss Krssi Luv. Gotta give it.
We described their relationship like it was someone was like the side chick and then someone was the main one and they're all fighting. And then I gave them that analysis and they was like, nope, that is the one. Because you have these three going back and forth. Don't talk to him like that. No, you can't speak to me like that. But I loved you and I did this for you and you can't do this. It is like the threesome that went bad.
Yeah,
there it is. And yes, they were talking about SmackDown already, so let's get into it. Roman Reigns returned and was confronted by Brock Lesnar and with Paul Heyman. And after that love triangle squabble, it was Roman who used the distraction from Heyman to give Brock the Superman punch in the biggest in the biggest moment of the night. Charlotte Flair introduced a video announcing participants for the Women's Royal Rumble match, which included WWE Hall of Famers, the Bella Twins, Lita, Kelly, Michelle McCool, Summer Rae, and none other than Impact Knockouts World Champion Mickie James, with Pat McAfee saying the words Impact Knockouts champion and saying that she's coming back to deal with all the garbage from the past. Man, Pat McAfee, this is why you are our savior on WWE commentary. You also had the Usos defeated the New Day in a fun street fight to retain the SmackDown Tag Team titles, and Seth Rollins appeared to confirm himself as the challenger for Roman Reigns and the Universal title at the Royal Rumble, and he didn't just knock. He didn't just simply knock. No, he knocked using the Shield theme, because that's a deep cut. Rich, what did you think about SmackDown last night?
I thought it was wild. It kicked off with the threesome gone bad, as Krssi just listed, and then it ended with the 2/3 of a threesome that nobody make eye contact anymore.
Yes,
with the Shield. Like, the fact that he opened with the knock, and Roman was just,
the fuck is that?
and then he opens it up and just starts laughing. Like, like everybody got that crazy friend.
Yes.
And he's like, what you doing here, man? Like, he couldn't even have to say that. Like, look at her. It's just, ha! Like, that picture you got was perfect, because Seth is out of his mind in this new character. Like,
I love it. It's the best.
And the only thing that's missing is he's wearing that outfit where it's the red tie with the black floof, but then it's white, so it's like not wide enough to see. Like, he is just still dressed like he's gonna be asking Batman to get money by like midnight. And Roman is just so fed up. Like, he's had the worst day.
Yes, he had the worst day at work today. He's just like over everyone.
He had to see his ex with someone new.
Yeah,
he's just getting over COVID.
Right.
He had a whole bunch of problems, and then he saw this dude. Dude again.
And then to your point with the knock, they even gave us a little preview of it, because when he got mad at Scrap Daddy, he was like, unless it's you signing up to wrestle me. I was like, oh crap, that did happen last year. Like, like he's like, I don't care who it is. And for me, I'm like, Adam Pearce is the type of dude where, like, he in this heel kind of pseudo heel role where he's got to deal with a coworker that's also wild in on her side, like just trying to be the ultimate racist. Like, HR should have been called in by now with what's going on that situation, but we'll get to it. But he's like, all right, bet. Okay, so you don't care about anybody.
All these analysis is great.
He's like, oh, you want anybody's? Okay.
I got you.
You have a good day, sir.
Just wait right here. Also, last night you had AEW Rampage that had Adam Cole beat Jake Atlas after Atlas suffered a knee injury. Apparently, he said he's going to be just fine. It's not as serious as many thought on Wednesday when this match was taped. Riho and Ruby Soho defeated Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Jamie Hayter. You also had Eddie Kingston, Santana and Ortiz defeat 2.0 and Daniel Garcia in a no rules match, which many think was the main event last night. But you all know the real main event was Hook! Hook was sent once again, defeating Aaron Solo with Red Rum and then dropping QT Marshall with a head and arm tag flex, his former trainer. If you didn't tell by that introduction, Rich, I am the #1 hooker out on these streets. So I was very pleased to hear the fans in Newark say we are hookers. Dum 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 dum. Yes, we are hookers. Everyone is a hooker for Hook. That's what it's all about. Krssi Luv, what did you think?
Oh my God. I love that Chris Jericho said that he loves Hook's Edward Scissorhands hairstyle. That is the most amazing analysis, comparison, all of the above. I was like, that is it. Because I was trying to, he's not Rufio, because Rufio had the mohawk. It's not a mohawk. It's just like all over the place. It's like you get mostly, you just like string it and just let it sit underneath the dry and let it dry. And that is correct. But yes, I love Hook. I love that he just comes out. He doesn't give any type of facial expressions. He puts his hands on the turnbuckle and just shows his face. And that's it. I love it.
Lovely stuff. And yes, you got a bunch of applause for your Mega Powers Miss Elizabeth analogy from Dion Chua, Nick Jackson, Chase Oliver, EBB, Fifth Generation Carney, Frantic World, Annika Wilson, everyone. Nick Jackson says, you got lust in the eyes, Terrence. Oh, I love it. I love it. We gotta really stick to this, Krssi.
Yeah,
We Rich done changed the game on True Hill Heat. We are now referring to Hogan as Terrence.
He's set the tone for the year. Put it like that.
Absolutely. You my boy Boo says, like I said,
Florida.
No one won in Atlanta. This fans left pissed. Yes, indeed they did. We also got Heels Rules says, yeah, Roman is a heel. He's not babyface head of the table like they wanted for years. He's meant to be disliked. I mean, yeah, I definitely agree with you there. Nick Jackson says Pat McAfee is invited to the cookout. Does Pat get a plate at the cookout?
He might, but he need to make sure he ain't been hanging out with his little no shoes wearing friend. Otherwise, he gonna have to be giving me some PCR tests because I don't want to see him after he's been hanging out with Aaron Rodgers and talking that bull jive. Like, yeah. He can pull up. I'll be triple masked. I'll slide him a plate and be like, brother, once you and that friend, who all gonna be there? Who all gonna be in that car? Because if it's just him, maybe you could come on in. But if it's gonna be you and that wild dude, don't wear shoes. No,
we good out here. We got Frantic World says I still can't believe Mickie James is gonna be in the Royal Rumble. Wow, and EBB adds Scott D'Amore is the true Thanos. What a great year of partnerships and getting great promotions from all these companies. Great stuff. Hard to Kill looking like it's about to be a really good one. Were you shocked as well? Mickie James, Impact Knockouts champion in the Royal Rumble, Miss Krssi Luv.
Can I just say I was very shocked that they have her, but I would have rather had it be the shocker of what we loved about the Royal Rumble. Let me be surprised. Let us be shocked that she won is gonna come out. Like, why give it away? Like, the whole point of, like, especially like with the women, of course, it's the shock value. We want to see who was going to come out, and you gave us half the ladies. So it's like I feel like they're not even behind the ladies' Royal Rumble at all now, because the last 2 years it was okay, it was good. We had Bianca did her part great last year, but other than that, it didn't perform like they usually did when we had the crowd, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I think it was most of the time I think that surprises should be surprises with the Royal Rumble. This one I think is the exception to the rule because I don't think Mickey's going to be Knockouts champion for much longer than the next couple of hours. That was the way to get some promotion for Impact Wrestling was to announce it yesterday. Announce it yesterday because then you could say she's Impact Knockouts champion because we don't know what's going to happen after Hard to Kill. She may be done with Impact Wrestling after that, and her showing up is just going to be like, it would just be like she left Impact to come here. But by announcing it ahead of time when she's still about to have a Knockouts championship matchup, Impact gets the promotion. Impact looks great because they've worked with NWA, New Japan, AEW, and WWE in the past 12 months. This is like Impact Wrestling needs a documentary on them because this company has been dead 42,000 times, yet they always, year after year, get some type of buzz. What did you think, Rich?
I think two things.
I get that. Sorry, Rick.
No, Miss Krssi. I was going to say to your point, it's crazy that they announced it, but I also thought about the fact that it's the 29th. They have their the shareholder meeting on the 3rd, so they want as many eyes on this as possible. So if you kind of spoil some of them, because they only gave us 19 to the 30 women. So if you spoil some of the surprises, go ahead.
That's the part that I also was gonna say to you. Like, they only gave us half the women, like the whole roster's not there. And then you put Charlotte in there as too. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to the champion, but I'm gonna be like the whole Brock Lesnar of like the ladies and be in it as well. So, okay, sure.
Yeah, it's like sure Jan, like
right, sure Jan. Yup. Man, I love this guy. You're amazing.
I thank you so much. It's to me. I looked at that because even with Naomi, oh hey dear, my wife just slid through. I saw movement, so I hoped it was either her or that ghost I talked about before. Yeah.
That's me. If you see me turn, that's like one of the, that's the same thing. Yep.
Yep. And it's like, I was shocked. The thing for me, though, is if you're at 19, if you're going to get the 20, does this mean that Becky is also going to do the same thing? Because she's not going to let Charlotte upstage her.
That's a good point. That's
it's
a good
like
point.
They're sisters. Like you can't. Oh, I'm gonna do it. You're gonna do it too. Like let's do. Like it's like back and forth now. I don't even think it's like. Sorry, I don't know. Like it's just I'm over it with the two of them.
I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna fill out the rest of these, but I'm sure we're gonna get a couple of surprises. Me personally, I want to see Bayley be a surprise, number 30, and win the whole damn thing, because I feel like the only way the women main event WrestleMania this year is Bayley versus Becky. I don't think any other matchup is hot enough to main event from the women.
Don't put another person in there. Like we don't need three don't filler it down. Like
I'm sorry,
let the ladies be great.
They might do. I think what I think is on the one side it's gonna be Bianca.
Yeah, like in the
Becky.
background, like in somebody's ear, like this, like or like
it's
on
gonna
the
be
shoulder,
Bianca,
like the devil, like the two, the two, like you got the good devil, you got the angel. One of the two is gonna be back in somebody's ear like that.
Yeah. One of these days they're gonna finally pull the trigger, health permitting, of a horsewomen like 4-way. But I think this year you might have a horsewomen 3-way on SmackDown where it's where it's Bayley, Sasha, and Charlotte, and then on the other side Bianca and Becky.
I'm sorry to tell you. I've been telling everybody this, Rich. I am a big Bianca Belair fan as well. We have seen absolutely jack shit that should tell us Bianca Belair is going to be in the Raw Women's Championship match
but that's the
at
thing.
WrestleMania. We have not seen anything that should make anyone believe that they are going to make good on that angle at SummerSlam. Yeah. I feel like people are just holding out hope that happens, but I think that it's more of a safer bet that we get Becky versus Alexa Bliss. Becky versus Bayley. I feel like there's a few people that WWE have placed in front of Bianca.
I feel like they're also like, I don't know what it is that with the new Becky now that she's back. I don't know what it is that they're like holding her in a bubble, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like she can't be touched. Don't go near Becky. Like she's now the new Charlotte, I want to say. Where you can't she's not doing any wrong, and she is the one that is she is the woman that is in charge, and she's the forefront of done it all. She had a baby, like look at her, she's in the best shape, blah 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 blah. She can do it all. Fuck out of here.
And that used to be a girl too.
and that is saying a lot, because that used to be my girl. But now you filtered her, you made her come back, she looked phenomenal, and then you made her this character, this big time Bex, where your promos are not even good anymore. They're not even making any. They're not even like, you're having this feud with Liv Morgan, and they're not even like, they're very lackluster. I don't feel this. And then she let go of the man phrase or whatever, which is okay with me. That's fine. But my whole thing is like, you put her in this. She's in this bubble, and she can't be touched, and she can do no wrong, and your matches are not that good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this past Monday, her promo was just like expedition. Like I mean that as a long monologue where you didn't know what the point was until the very last sentence, and it's like, why did this need to be this long if that was the point of this all?
So what the thing? Blah, 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 blah. You don't know.
It's like, this could have been an email, dog.
You could have put this in email form, dog.
That could have been an email. Yeah. That's that Zoom that could have been in the email. That's right. Yep.
Chase Oliver with a super chat donation said, when the earth ends, the things that will be left on earth is the cockroaches, Macy's, and Impact Wrestling. Absolutely right. You are damn right, man. That is a great comment there. Moving on to what else we missed. AEW Dynamite TBS Premiere this week. They did 1.01 million viewers for their debut on TBS.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Hangman Adam Page defeated Bryan Danielson to retain the AEW World Championship in a bloody, violent masterpiece to open the show. 29 minutes of a just an absolute war. Jurassic Express defeated the Lucha Brothers to win the AEW World Tag Team titles after one of the scariest arm injuries for Rey Fénix that you will ever see in your life. Jade Cargill became the first ever TBS champion by defeating Ruby Soho in a nice moment with her daughter at the end there. CM Punk cost MJF a match against Shawn Dean, making him lose by disqualification. And we got another fantastic promo exchange between the two. An update on Rey Fénix. It appeared he has suffered a nasty injury during the title match, like I said, and it appeared that he might have had a nasty arm break, but reports indicated that he did not suffer a fracture after he was taken to the hospital. It was also rumored that Fénix likely suffered a severe elbow dislocation rather than a fracture. Fénix has now shared an update on his official Instagram account and confirming he didn't suffer any broken bones for the match despite the graphic visual.
Rich, in our lives. Gotta have it.
Rich, what was your reaction to that injury? And do you think AEW made the right decision putting the tag titles on Jurassic Express?
Yeah, I thought it was a great decision for them. This is the great time for them to make that transition, to have those two as the tag champions. You have the opportunity to kind of start the climb of Jungle Boy, and as he and Luchasaurus, and it's also notable by his absence, Marco Stunt. He's kind of been replaced by Christian, which is really strange.
Right, yes.
And that's and
What
that goes
happened to
into no, I think it just goes into honestly what happened with Swole and what's going to happen with a lot of folks whose contracts are kind of coming to the end. They're picking and choosing from that first cohort of people they signed who's going to come back and who isn't. And it looks like they'd rather use Luchasaurus than kind of the idea of him and Marco together, because it just kind of, it looks like there's going to be a part in the ways from how they've not featured him. And in terms of, I'm a big Beverly Hills 90210 fan. And so it's really wild to me that Dylan McKay's son is like a pro wrestler and like good at it. Like, so that's just wild to me. And then seeing his mom and his sister just like cry laughing, like celebrating with him, and just, that was awesome. And then on the other side, the injury, I just felt like, Miss Krssi said, he lucky. My man is the luckiest dude to ever be in that ring, because there's all these injuries I think is going to be like, this is it for him. And my man's just like, whoop, I'm good. And so just keep that up, brother. And then when he's old enough, he can become that like Jericho-esque body-sized luchador that still does the flips, but can still eat a ham sandwich and don't have to worry about like starving himself. Like, I look forward to that day for Rey Fénix where he could just start wilding out. But till then, just get healthy and hope everything works out.
Yes, hopefully, because that was a scary, scary injury. To follow up with Marco Stunt hasn't appeared on AEW Dynamite in some time, and according
to the short kid, right?
Yes, according to Wrestling Observer newsletter, Stunt is still signed to AEW and still being paid. He just hasn't been used. The company is reportedly trying to set itself apart from WWE in not releasing wrestlers under contract unless it's for a disciplinary reason, and of course there will be some wrestlers who don't get their contracts renewed when they eventually expire, and it was noted that this doesn't mean that Stunt will be one of those guys, but it's probably what people are thinking with the fact that he hasn't been used in a number of weeks. Miss Krssi Luv, what was your reaction to Jade Cargill becoming the first ever TBS champion? Do you think that AEW made the right decision going full throttle with the undefeated TBS champ?
Well, they kind of gave it away once they showed her daughter. Like, once you showed me I didn't even know she had a kid. Once you showed me her daughter, I was like, yeah, she got this in the bag, friend. Like, you got her the I don't know if that was her man or the child's father. I don't know who that man was. But once you showed that little girl there and she's there to see her mom, you've never put a spotlight or said anything about Jade's personal life, I knew this was in the bag for her. I am happy that they went with her as the winner. The match was...
It wasn't cool. I'll say it. I'll say it. I'll
Okay.
say it.
I was trying to find the words. I was really trying to find it.
The people that watch True Hill Heat, they watch it for my honesty. They know me. I'm gonna be honest. I love Jade Cargill.
I love Jade Cargill. I was not impressed with it. I think both her and Ruby are better than what they gave in that match. I think they need a do-over. Yeah, it was a lot of botches. It wasn't good. Sorry. Love both ladies. Think they're great. Very disappointed in the execution of what was supposed to be this big thing, and then very sad to say that they didn't give her a big. There was nothing big that was, and she won, and that was really it. Like there was nothing. Like they didn't even show her with her daughter at the end. Like that,
Yeah.
They went to a commercial. Like that was disappointing. Like,
well, to be fair, if you want her to be this monster heel, showing that doesn't make her a monster heel. So
okay,
I can understand. I can understand that part. They let her have her moment. They just weren't going to let her have it on camera because that goes against the character. They're trying to present.
All right. Okay, I get that part. Fine, but the match wasn't good. Go ahead, Fred.
Rich, final question about AEW Dynamite. Hangman Bryan II better than the first one, the 60-minute time limit draw?
I would say yes.
That's a hard one.
And the reason I say yes is because it built on the first match, which is always a great sign of a match series and their chemistry for two matches together is insane. And then the viciousness, like we haven't seen that little vegan man bleed in years. Like like my man was squirting out some like quality, like that blood probably could like heal the like San Andreas fault if we had bottled it and started sprinkling it. Like that is nothing but some high quality. Like look at him. He looks like this looks like the end of Rambo, like Fifth Blood. Like he's like they said it was personal. Like this dude is just gone. Like that could be a meme. You like they did with the Lin-Manuel Miranda where he's like looking at the cell. Yes. Like you could do the same thing with that picture. Is like Bryan Danielson is not impressed with your tweet.
That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use that image. But yeah, this match I agree was better than the first one. I love the 60-minute time limit draw, but this felt like Hangman Page had arrived, and it wasn't even the victory. It was when he headbutted, but Bryan Danielson busted him open, and then he's standing in the ring by himself, dripping blood, and he just starts doing jumping jacks. I was like, yo, this is the greatest. He's arrived. He has arrived when he did that, because that takes God-level presence to take that moment and make it into what's going to be a GIF for the next couple of months or the next year, probably. I loved it. We got in the live chat here a few people talking about AEW Dynamite. Frantic World saying AEW Dynamite was fire. Mm-hmm. We also got Alan Weinstein saying Page versus Danielson 1 was better, so he disagrees, but there we go. We also got Nick Jackson saying, please don't show that Phoenix picture. No, we just did it to you for AE Ramble, not here. We try to be beneficial.
I must have screamed. I think I must have woke up my neighborhood because I was watching, and you saw it on when it first happened. Like you didn't see it in the you know how sometimes you see someone get hurt, but from the replay,
it was too fast. It was too fast the first time.
It was just I think he tried to break the fall, but I don't.
He tried to post, and his whole body and the table went on top of his arm.
There you go. Yes. And I screamed so loud, I think I woke up the neighborhood. I was like, oh my God. Like, and then they showed the replay over, and I was like, no, I can't see it. No, it's just so nasty. My husband was like, what the fuck is happening right now? What is wrong with you? I was like, he broke his arm. He's like, you gotta see this, it's so nasty. I can't look. And he was like, ooh. Yeah, that is bad. Like, yeah, okay. All right, but you didn't have to scream and wake up the whole neighborhood. Like, damn, like, what's wrong with you? I was like, no, you had to watch it live to see that I was into it. You wasn't into it because you was in the kitchen. That's why.
It's okay. Annika says it should have been Jade versus Rosa. Oh, Rosa. To be fair, Rosa didn't get a great match out of Jade either. So
she didn't.
I think honestly,
Jade?
I think Jade's young. I think just like when we talk about the New Year's Evil with Steiner, she's green, and I always like the way she comes back. Yeah, I'm green. I make a lot of money. Like that I appreciate it, sister. But I think in her case, Rosa shouldn't have been in the final because we needed to forget that she lost to her, because clearly we saw in this episode she wants to now challenge for the AEW title.
Yes. Yes, I think they're going to do this matchup with Mercedes Martinez, and that win is going to propel Rosa back to Baker.
Rosa back to the top, yep.
Yep. Over on NXT, they had their New Year's Evil special with Bron Breakker defeating Tommaso Ciampa to win the NXT Championship. You also had Carmelo Hayes defeating Roderick Strong to win the unify the North American and Cruiserweight Championships. Mandy Rose beat Cora Jade and Raquel Gonzalez to retain the NXT Women's Championship. And Riddle and MSK defeated Volta and Imperium in a fun 6-man tag team matchup. What did you think about New Year's Evil and Bron Breakker becoming the new NXT champion, Miss Krssi Luv?
I have nothing to say because I didn't watch it.
I appreciate your honesty for that.
I was not moved to see it. And I saw the reactions, I saw the stuff online, but I didn't watch the show. I'm sorry. I wasn't moved to be watching NXT in 2.0 for New Year's Evil. Was over it. Sorry. Not sorry.
I appreciate you, Krssi, because you're like, congratulations, or I'm sorry, I ain't gonna read all that. Like, just
I'm not concerned with all that, but cool story, bro.
Congratulations to all of them. The one.
Did this feel like the real start of the NXT 2.0 era with Bron Breakker winning the top title and then Carmelo Hayes unifying titles?
I think it's already been there, but I think this is that moment where the line's been put. Like, dude kicked the sign, like Triple H, like my chest. Like they kicked that giant, like there it is. Like why you gotta be kicking the black and gold? We built this.
Disrespectful.
Like, and the back Triple H probably had to be like somebody. The people who usually would grab him and restrain him don't work there no more, so it's probably just like him.
You know what?
Just like
punching air.
Punching air. Just like. And it's wild to me that you have this, and for me, I thought that the matches were good. Carmelo Hayes, when I first saw Christian Casanova and Beyond Wrestling, we were reviewing it for the Torch, and in my written review, I was like, this dude's going to the WWE at some point. Like, even back then, he had the same body. Like, dude just looked like $1 million. He was a cocky Shawn Michaels, like, heel at the time. And so he hasn't gotten a chance to show that. Like, he's showing the mellow don't miss. But he was like, listen, y'all know I'm all this. Like, he had, funny enough, Smart Mark Sterling as his manager. And they would set up, like, a VIP rope. And you couldn't get near him unless he had a security guard check you to get in, even in his promo. So I was like, this dude was already like thinking next level at like indie level. So he's going to be fine. When he makes it to the main roster, he's going to be that dude. You give whatever character, he's going to make it work. With Bron Breakker, they need to stop playing with this man's feelings. Say Braun Steiner, let his dad finally be on screen. Like Miss Krssi mentioned with Jade's daughter. You had the same thing. Steiner got to celebrate with his dad after the cameras went off. You call him the dog-faced gremlin. He beat this fool with a bulldog and a Steiner recliner. And I'm not supposed to know whose family he is. And he looked and sounded like his dad and his uncle.
Yeah.
Right.
I will never get what WWE has against not admitting that he's a Steiner. I will never understand it. Over on Monday Night Raw, you had Bobby Lashley become the #1 contender for the WWE Champion Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble, defeating Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and Big E. You also had Paul Heyman return to Brock's side as his advocate. Edge and Beth Phoenix challenged The Miz and Maurice to a mixed tag team match at the Royal Rumble as well. Impact on AXS TV, they had the go-home show to Hard to Kill with Deonna Purrazzo defeating Mercedes Martinez and Carl Anderson defeating Heath to preview the Hardcore War at the pay-per-view tonight. We will be previewing once we are done with the rest of our news rundown. But since we didn't have the picture of Rey Phoenix's injury, we decided that we would give you the reactions of True Hill Heat from this past Wednesday watching Rey Phoenix nasty argument.
Oh, come on,
SP3. True Hill Heat.
Oh no! No!
Oh
Oh man.
Phoenix broke his arm.
No fucking way.
Yeah, he did. Yep, he broke his arm. Fuck.
Fuck. Shit.
Oh!
Oh shit, he
Fuck,
did.
man.
He did.
Yep, there it is. There's the live reactions of the True Hill Heat crew on Wednesday. Join us when we watch AEW Dynamite for the specials like that. Nick Jackson saying that Brian Pitcher is iconic. We also got Romeo saying, love the storytelling of Hangman not slowing down one bit, knowing he didn't want to go 60 minutes again. Yeah, he just had that sense of urgency. It was just great how they had the callbacks to the former match and just how the way the wrestlers were working. You could tell, you could tell their mentalities in this matchup. EBB echoing this, saying this match was built off their first so well. Truly put over Hangman as the ace. I ain't biased at all. All right, when I say this, he should hold the title forever. I'm sure you all agree. yes, EBB. We know you love yourself some Hangman Page. But Alan Weinstein doesn't like Bron Breakker, apparently. He says, I refuse to call him Braun anymore because F WWE.
Wow.
There we go. He's strong. Then we gotta go through our news rundown, our last bit of news, WWE news. William Regal, like we saw earlier, he had his statement basically thanking WWE for a wonderful 21-year run. You gave a lad who was happy and in Wonderland wrestling on a carnival have a charmed life for 21 years. So very humble in the way he's leaving the company there. And speaking of people leaving the company, Krssi Sane's contract with WWE is running out. According to Fightful Select, sources within WWE have indicated that it's not a done deal just yet, but that Sane will be exiting the company when her contract ends in February. Do you think that we will see Krssi Sane in another U.S. promotion or maybe back in Stardom, Rich?
Stardom, absolutely. In fact, one of the reasons, in my opinion, this has gotten to the point where she probably had to let the contract run out is she wanted a few months ago. She was one of the pillars of Stardom, her and Io, and they wanted her to come back and just do what they do at every WWE NXT show back in the day: sit in the crowd, do the little wave thing, and honor some of her proteges wrestling for the World of Stardom title. And they're like, nah, we need you to like not do anything, but not that. And so, yeah, I think she should go up because just like I always like the story of Ibushi and Kairi. Those are independently wealthy people who are doing pro wrestling because they find it fun. Like Kairi's family got her into sailing and stuff, and she was an Olympic level athlete, but they got money. Same thing with Ibushi. So when WWE tries to like do that big boy talk, it's not going to work on them like it work on folks who need to pay them bills. And so I hope she does get a chance to go back to Stardom, which I think is the first thing. North America wise, I think it depends on coronavirus, how safe she feels, because she did want to move back to Japan to be with her husband, and she probably wouldn't want to be part of a North American based promotion on the reg. But if they got a big show and she can go there and quarantine, etc., I think she would do it.
Sounds about right to me. During Thursday's episode of NXT UK, Walter announced that he will be having his final match for the brand next week against Nathan Frazier. This will be Walter's last stand in NXT UK, as he will be departing NXT UK to join NXT 2.0 full time. According to an update by the Fightful Select, as first reported by the Matman podcast's Andrew Zarian, the current date scheduled for the next Saudi Arabia show is February 19th. That's going to be their one just before WrestleMania. So I know you're looking forward to that, Miss Krssi Luv.
I will see. We'll see. Because last year's one wasn't bad. It was actually decent. Like it was the first one where I actually enjoyed. Oh God, I can't believe I'm going to say this shit. Jesus, that I actually enjoyed it. But you know, we'll see. Whatever.
See if that lasts. It was reported.
Right.
It was reported over the weekend that Sasha Banks appeared to hurt her leg during a WWE live event in North Carolina. PW Insider reports that Banks suffered a sprained leg after her match with Charlotte Flair during the live event. Mild sprains can take around 6 weeks to heal, so hopefully a speedy recovery for Sasha Banks, who seems like she's going to be versing Charlotte at WrestleMania. After initial reports that Big E was set to win the WWE title at day one, Dave Meltzer wrote a new piece for Sports Illustrated in which he reports that Big E was planned to lose the WWE Championship even before Lesnar was inserted into the match, and that it was planned for Seth Rollins to win the championship. Like Rich said earlier, it would have been Big E versus Rollins at WrestleMania in that scenario. Right. Which makes me ask, Rich, do you think that Seth Rollins has a chance to beat Roman for the Universal title and then Roman and Brock becomes for the WWE title?
I could see that, especially if there's some interference that causes. And again, Roman, the biggest issue he has now is with everything crumbling around him, is that Seth's a lunatic. And you can't predict what a lunatic's going to do. And so Seth being the one to end it would actually be quite funny and then lead to him and Big E fighting for that title. I think that would be a pretty sweet switch.
Absolutely, I agree. Fightful Select reports that Jeff Hardy was factoring into a lot of creative plans on WWE main roster, but he was also set for a role in NXT and was originally planned to be revealed as the shaman for MSK. Apparently, they had already filmed content with Jeff Hardy in the role, and the company had to rush to have Riddle film content with MSK after Hardy's release. So very interesting right there. Our final bit of WWE news. AEW news. Yes, we are going to address the elephant in the room, and the elephant in the room being Antoine Khan. Antoine Khan, we are talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, the man behind such great creative promos like Brandy Rhodes saying, "You're a black belt? Well, I'm a black bitch."
He was the one that said he made her say that.
Well, he's the owner of the company. I don't know if he made her say that, but he's the last line of defense that should be like, maybe you shouldn't say that. But in all seriousness, this has to do with the whole big conversation of AEW having a diversity problem that was brought up by Big Swole. On her new podcast, The Call-In Show, she addressed her departure from AEW, her reasons for exiting the company, citing concerns about the lack of structure and diversity in the company, which led to Tony Khan responding. On her discussion with Tony Khan about ending her time in AEW, Big Swole said, "I explained to TK that I didn't want to resign because my peace was being disrupted. If anybody knows me or knows myself, if anything is disrupting my peace, it's time to go." On why she left the company, she said, "My heart just stopped being in it as the reason why I left AEW. I felt there were a lot of things, and I told them in my exit interview, there are a lot of things that need to change. I know fans of the company don't take criticism well sometimes, certain ones. Know this is somebody from the inside. The structure is a little off. It's fine to be loose, but I like to have a little more structure. I felt the women shouldn't have gone through everything they went through just to get on TV or get time. You're signed to this big company. You should get time. All these men are getting time, but the women aren't getting anything. And you're not putting people on TV because more people are coming in. Okay, there are more people coming in, but you don't have enough product for all these people." On realizing there was a representation problem in the company, she said, "I knew something was up when my daughter, who loves watching wrestling, she would watch AEW all the time and seldom watch WWE. She's not a big fan unless Dad, Cedric Alexander, was on TV, which stopped happening after they botched the Hurt Business. She would say, 'Mommy, there is nobody that looks like me on AEW. There's nobody that looks like Daddy.' Then she started watching WWE and she saw Bianca and Big E. She saw herself represented. If that wasn't a click, you are absolutely right. I don't have an explanation. It's 2021. Why are people saying it'll take 3 years for AEW to have a black champion? This is a scripted sport. It should not take that long if you have been watching WWE for 50 plus years and you know what not to do." In response to Big Swole's very eloquent and very professional things that she had to say about her experience and what she thinks is issues in AEW, Tony Khan responded with this tweet. "The top two at AEW executives are Brown, me, and Mega. Jade, Bowens, Caster, Dante, Nyla, Isaiah, and Mark Quinn all won on TV this month. The TBS title tournament has been very diverse. I let Swole's contract expire as I felt her wrestling wasn't good enough. Hashtag AEW Rampage Street Fight tonight. Several superstars responded to this with their positive experiences in the AEW, such as Jade Cargill, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Sean Dean. Leo Rush was particularly vocal about TK's comments, saying, "If nobody says something, then I will, because this is fucked up, and now I'm pissed." And then he said, "Apologize at Tony Khan and at AEW." He later deleted those tweets and said he did have a conversation with Tony Khan about addressing, the struggles of the Black community in AEW. So he did the right thing in having that conversation with someone who's, in the inside with the higher ups there. But my God, Tony Khan, I have never in my life seen the wrestling equivalent to "I have a black friend." That tweet was the wrestling. The first half of it was the wrestling equivalent to saying that I know Shaniqua, Taniqua, Shaquana, Marlon. I know Omar. I know all of them. They all went on TV. They all been by my house. They all knocked on my door. I didn't let them in, but they knocked on my door. They've been by. That's basically what this tweet said.
They've been by the crib for a second. Yeah, something like that.
And then the final line about Swole, that had nothing to do with anything. Like, that was the very obvious point of this whole tweet, that I was like, he did not read or listen to the interview, like, at all. Rich, what's your thoughts on Tony Khan's response and the overall subject of AEW having a diversity issue?
I think it was a couple of pieces that either in the beginning of this, when folks reacted to Swole's podcast and didn't actually listen to what she said, because it was a 95% positive podcast. She was telling stories about him buying food, weed for people. Like, I was like...
The parties. SP can tell you about the parties.
Right. I'm like, everyone's picking up on, like, oh, she mentioned diversity, and, it took my boss over at the Torch, Wade, who's a white dude in Minnesota, mentioning, like, diversity doesn't just have to mean in the ring. It could mean every person who every person who's I got to run my match and my promos by or a middle-aged white person, and that is going to filter what your interpretation is.
About. Yep.
And so I think that's a very fair point. I mentioned when it happened that it was unfair because it's an exit interview. I work at Pitt. I work at University of Pittsburgh. If you leave, we give an exit interview and go through what's the reason you're leaving. Like, that's how most companies work. And everything that she said, everything Tony said, everything that happened, it's like both things can be true. Swole could have sat down with Tony and said, my piece isn't right, I need to leave. He isn't going to say to her face at the moment, I don't think your wrestling is good enough, I'm going to let you go. He probably said, all right, I get it, God bless. And even in her follow-up podcast, she mentioned he was so conciliatory in the meeting. Okay. But when you say that and then you mention her wrestling, I struggle with that because everyone's focused on that and they make it seem as if Swole had to be Lou Thez 2022 in order to say something about a situation she's in. Her skill as a wrestler isn't on for the debate here. What was up for the debate was the opinion. And the opinions of everybody else that jumped in, like you had several those are their experience. Even she said, everybody's got different experience. That's fine. But don't invalidate hers to say that it didn't happen because I had this experience. Because that's just as bad as what you're saying, SB3. It becomes a situation of, well, he ain't say it around me. And it's like, that's just... And when it comes to that, I had another member of the media disagree with the fact that I asked the question at the first opportunity I could have, what are you going to do 2 years ago, 2019? What are you going to do in the men's scene to make sure it features black wrestlers? And, some folks called that a loaded question, and I disagree because in the history of professional wrestling... Actually. Thank you. I appreciate that, Ms. Chris. And for me, I saw it as this. Over at the Torch, East Coast Cats, we got call-ins and we got tweets from people who have since passed that were friends with Cam that were like, these folks are only hiring white people. They're only going to have... I was like, how about I ask the guy instead of us, like, assuming?
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, give me a chance. And from that, I had conversations with Tony Khan where he had said similar things, but he was it wasn't defensive. It was like a positive thing. 2 years later, asking those questions, you've had 4 champions, none of them are black. I'm honestly fine with that because they have long-term champions. This isn't like WWE. If there were like 20 AEW champions in 3 years, and you ain't find ne'er a person of color that you can decide. And I like
Correct.
to delineate black, person of color, two different things.
Yes.
And that gets tied up somehow when people start doing this on Twitter. And so when you think about the TNT title, though, Cody is a 3-time champion with a 2-year-old title. And you're telling me, and to the point that Swole's mentioning, we are sitting here tonight and we're going to have a battle of the belts where Dustin replaces Cody for the interim title. And so when last night on Rampage, Scorpio had the astute, when you have a heel telling the truth.
Yes.
I haven't lost in 300 days. I got a better record. They just put out, as they always do on Wednesdays, their rankings. I don't see Dustin Rhodes. I love Dustin, but I don't see him on that list.
Match. Nope.
I was just like baffled by it because they literally like told us like Dustin is Cody's brother. Okay, that's the reason obviously why you're putting him in the match. And then Excalibur gonna say, oh, but no, he's won 17 of the past 20 against all the gym teachers on fucking AEW Dark. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? We're referencing that? He's beating gym teachers and accountants on AEW Dark, and we're saying that's a winning record?
If we're gonna do that, though, and notice they also added Ricky, so we got to darken up the show too. And magically Hobbs next week is gonna have a match against Dante after his 3 notes app statements. And I say that flippantly because I shouldn't say it flippantly because he did mention that his mom passed and they were good on him. I'm not disparaging the brother on that, but when you come in that hard at Swole, when all she said, I want everybody to have more than what they're getting. That's a little tough for me to kind of see that. And so, great. You have your match. You're happy where you are. Great. Ricky, you're slow playing it with his neck. The TNT title, there's no reason that Scorpio Sky shouldn't have been in it. Yep. If you're going to be stupid and say, like, okay, 7 of the last 10 or whatever, any of the Gunn brothers could have, or Billy Gunn, could have been then because they have like a 56 and like 2 record.
Exactly.
If you're gonna talk about Hook, we just saw Hook. He's got 2 televised wins.
And Hook counts as like he's racially ambiguous. To be fair,
listen, it's funny because of all the stuff that goes on with like you talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. I talked about this with Travis on the East Coast Cast Wednesday, and I think you guys might be a little bit more in my wheelhouse because I threw it out to Travis and he didn't really pick up what I was laying down. Can you just, for both of y'all, just take a second, and anyone in the chat too, throw out, without having any evidence, any character you grew up with as a cartoon character that you thought was black?
Skeeter. Skeeter from Dogg. Absolutely.
Skeeter from Dogg. Damn.
I thought Patty Mayonnaise was mixed.
Yes, I thought she was Mexican. I thought Roger was like a light skin black person because he had the same skin color as Skeeter but just a lighter green. And the
Buster
creator,
from Arthur.
That's true. The creator of Doug did confirm that Skeeter is black, by the way. I just wanted to mention that. So
I threw out like Panthro from Thundercats.
Oh yeah,
from Dragon Ball Z.
That's a good one.
Right?
Oh, you taking it there, friend?
Yeah, I'm taking. Okay. And for me, the reason I said that is when you as a person, like I have a 9-year-old son, I'm 40 years old. When you as a consumer of media have to seek out the most like esoteric things to reach out and say this is part of me.
Yeah.
You will make the thing that I think I did, and maybe both of y'all did. When I saw Taz the first time, I said like this black man's from Red Hook.
Yes.
And so now I apply the same things, unfortunately, to Hook. It's like, this is young mixed boy from the city. He's just trying to, he's going to be in one of those new CW shows where he's so ethnically ambiguous, you don't quite know.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we created a love triangle show called Hooked. Called Hooked. And Hook is the star. We got Jarrett Bailey, who we've had on the show. He's his antagonist. He's the one that is trying to fight over the girl with Hook. And it's going to be like a love rectangle by the end of it. But it is called Hooked, and that's going to be on the CW. We're going to pitch that. That's going to go along with Married to Wrestling, our reality show on the wives of wrestlers. So
you try to get somebody hemmed up on that one because, I mean, first person I'm going for is old homeboy over in Impact, Carl Anderson.
Oh,
That's
damn,
gonna be
I didn't think of that.
that's gonna be like 30 minutes of cheaters every week if it's her. Just waiting outside the car, like let me see this phone. Where's the other phone? Look under the car. Where's that burner, fool? I know you got a burner. Don't go be. You ain't been tweeting for 3 hours. Where's that other phone?
Checking his ankles and shit. Like checking his ankles. Like I know you got it. I know you got it somewhere. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that the original plan was always for Jade Cargill to become the first ever TBS champion, but AEW discussed changing the finish. The discussion happened not long after the brackets were announced, as Big Swole appeared to give away the winner on Twitter. She wrote at the time, "Should be the one y'all still owe, but we know it'll be Jade." While there was there were talks to change it up, they ultimately stuck to the plan. All I will say to finish up the whole conversation about Swole and the battle for diversity is that it's a very nuanced conversation. And like Rich said, it can be both things. From top to bottom, if you really look at it, AEW does have a diverse roster. They have a lot of representation from different parts of the world, as well as different races. But also, what's true is that AEW has zero jack shit representation of African Americans in their male main event scene. That's just, I have just stated facts. Top to bottom, they are diverse, but that diversity does not go up to the main event team as far as on the male side.
Very mid card.
Or even I even said, like, think about this. It's a person and or people that, like, on WWE, it's not hard for you to think of Bobby Lashley as a contender for the title.
Yeah.
Right.
There's no one right now that you could see as a contender. And on the black side of things. But then the thing that frustrates me, and I think with Ray's injury, you might see this. The reason I got into Lucha Underground was because of Pentagon Jr. And the reason I got into Io Shirai and Kairi Sane was because I watched Pentagon Jr. fight the Black Lotus Triad and get his little behind broke. Those women beat that man so severely. Like, if Kairi Sane showed up I need that scene. If she showed up and he's just like grabbing his arm, like absent-mindedly, like, I gotta go. I got. Y'all ain't tell me she was gonna be here. Like,
flashlight. Oh no.
He just running, like, just crying in the car. They're like, "What's up, Pentagon?" I say all that with that silliness to say, he's an easy win as far as a singles wrestler. He don't have to speak English. We could have Albert Hontes translate for him. You could have subtitles on the bottom. Same thing they've done with Riho and some of the other female wrestlers that English isn't their strongest suit.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's a work rate promotion and you're saying there isn't a wrestler that has work rate, why did you hire Jay Lethal? Like, where did he go?
I ain't seen him.
No, it's very true. It's very true. No, I totally agree there. Like, why would you hire... You hired Lee Moriarty, who's one of the best technical wrestlers in the world, and he's only been on Dynamite once. Any final comments in regards to this, Miss Krssi Luv?
Someone needs to take Tony Khan's Twitter page away and his phone, because he doesn't have any friends that understand what was said or what was told about what happened, because that tweet can reflect that you're not listening. You're listening, but you're not listening. If that went in one ear and went out the other, or you're there saying yes, but you're not listening. So for her to say her experiences and then other people to go behind and say, I love that people were behind her saying, yes, I did this, I stand behind this. But, if you had like someone posted, like, you had like John Moxley leave or something like that. And he said all these things, but no one said anything bad, like, but it wasn't about diversity. The only thing is just like, we just need more people at the table to understand why is there not shown on TV. That's all we're asking. And that's what she was just saying. My experience was fine, but we have little kids and a lot of people that look like her that are watching these promotions, and they're not being represented in the way that they want to. Like, even, i.e., like you said, cartoons, movies, all of these things. Why are we not being shown? Why are they not showing us and why are we not sitting at these tables? And now when we telling you that we need this at the table, it's a problem. She's a bad worker. Like, she didn't work very well, so I let her. So now you tarnish her. That's not That's not cool, friend. Like, you want people to be behind your promotion, which we are, but then you go and you do things like this. Is like, how are you supposed to, how am I supposed to believe that Sonny Kiss has the opportunity? How am I supposed to believe that Nyla Rose is going to be like the people that, like, these are people that are non-binary. These are people that are gay. These are all people that are different. And they show this in the way that they speak about it. They're very vocal about it. And you go and you do this about Swole, like that's very disrespectful. I think that's very disappointing for him. And I think that he needs to stay off Twitter. Someone needs to watch him. He's acting, I think producers say he's acting like Donald Trump now. He keep tweeting, and you're not even listening and reading what you're writing.
Exactly.
So that's all I have to say about that.
Thank you for that. We got Annika Wilson, who says, if nothing, Big Swole should have went against Britt Baker one more time when she was champion, like what they're doing with Riho right now. And it made sense because she beat her in the tooth and nail match at Full Gear 2020. So when she won the title, that's the first person that I thought should have got a shot and an opportunity at the title. We also got EBB. He says, I think we got to specify what we mean when we say diversity, because as a whole, in my opinion, it's there, but 100% can improve. Did you listen to Swole's new episode and said Tony hasn't even reached out? Yes, I have, and I'm not surprised. He's not. If he hasn't responded since everybody's been calling him out and addressing it, and he's done interviews where I'm pretty sure people should be asking him, but they haven't. So I'm gonna guess he's probably telling them to not ask him about it. So yeah, I don't think
you want to answer. Like, don't talk about it. We're not speaking.
He was like, I'm not even going to answer it. Nope. Yep, pretty much. Romeo saying the diversity is there, yes, but not in the main event scene. That's a fact that can't be debated. When you look at the other company, there is plenty of diversity in the main event for both genders. That's perfect point. Great point right there. And I think someone asked, they wish Jimmy was here, but like Romeo said, Jimmy was great on AE Ramble saying Tony can't take criticism because he was born with money. He bet his dad can take criticism.
He's like Vince. He's like Vince McMahon. Like, let's just call it what it is. You were born with money. You were born this way, so you never had to. You don't know what struggling is.
Yeah, I think it's a we talk about the idea of. And Tony mentioned, like, as a brown man, like, he had to deal with a lot of anti, like, Indian, anti-Pakistani, anti Southeast Asian, like, biases. And it's different when you're a person from privilege and you're still, like, the phrase, someone's still going to throw the N-word at you. Doesn't matter how much money you got. Same thing with him. But it's a different struggle.
It's a different struggle. Right.
You got to understand, and you got to have someone in the room that understands that and is willing to tell you. And you got to have, like, I always think about, in life, I have really good friends. One of my best friends, his name is Chris. If I do something or I say something that's completely out of pocket, I know I'm gonna get a text from him that says, hey, calm down. Like I had got a couple of years ago, someone had something ironically involved in this subject, and someone was basically saying I'm a coon if I don't tell Tony Khan he's wrong. Like I was like, I'm gonna give the man time, and I'm arguing like bat on Twitter, and all of a sudden I get a text. It's like, just let it stop. I was like,
You know what's frustrating, because it's sometimes when they are a minority is when it's convenient. If that makes sense. It's a minority. I'm one of the minorities is when it's convenient for them. We're in the minorities all the time. It's like it's shown.
Right.
But when it's them, and especially when they come from money, their struggles are not the same struggles, and they want to be the minorities when it's convenient for them, and they were like, oh yeah, like you said, I have black, I do all, we do all of this. No,
that's what I said. Listing all these people that you say won on TV, but literally half of them haven't been on Dynamite or Rampage, so you're not even talking about TV, you're talking about YouTube. Just naming all of them in a row that you had enough characters to name all the black people that's won on television. I'm sorry, that's the wrestling equivalent of, I got black friends. I know Taniqua, Shaquan. Like, I know all of them. So I was just very disappointed in Tony Khan. And it's very, very more disappointing that he hasn't addressed it yet. New Japan Pro Wrestling news. Night one of Wrestle Kingdom, like we said, had Kazuchika Shibata making his return. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, he apparently changed the stipulation to the match on the fly, on his own, and no one backstage knew Shibata was going to do that, going from catch wrestling rules to regular wrestling rules. Those backstage said that everyone freaked out when he said it would be a standard match, and those who saw the reaction of Gato and the other officials were certain that it wasn't planned ahead of time. Even though it wasn't grappling rules, Narita still avoided hitting Shibata in the head, and Shibata never took Narita's overhead suplex. But man, Shibata went into business for himself, and I love it because this man is not supposed to be in the ring. Live your best life. You only live once. Coming out of Wrestle Kingdom, you also had Jeff Cobb suffer a knee injury against Tetsuya Naito. They also announced the schedule for the first half of 2022. We're wrestling Dontaku on May 1st. That's going to be at Fukio PayPay's Dome, and the 50th or flying anniversary will take place on March 1st. And it was also announced on Wrestle Kingdom that New Japan Pro Wrestling is returning to AXS TV. Classic episodes from 2015 through 2019 will start airing on January 20th, and then March 3rd it will start airing at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, following Impact Wrestling new weekly shows with current New Japan Pro Wrestling matches. So once again, Impact working with all the promotions. And speaking of exposed to COVID-19, and as a result, tonight's Hard to Kill pay-per-view, the two were set to defend the Knockouts tag team titles against the Influence. Also, Matt Striker is gone from the company. He tweeted out and later deleted a post that he was exiting the company. He said in the post, "I am disappointed that my time with Impact on AXS TV is done. I really enjoyed that locker room. Thanks for allowing me to tell your story." Wow. And it was announced Deonna Purrazzo will battle Roxy on next week's Impact Wrestling. And this was first promoted at Final Battle when Deonna Purrazzo challenged Roxy. Over in GCW, they made announcements for the first couple of matches for their Hammerstein Ballroom show on January 23rd with Jonathan Gresham versus Blake Christian for the original ROH World Championship, as well as Bandito, Laredo Kid, and ASF versus Gringo Loco, Demonic Flamita, and Aries in a lucha trios match. And also Homicide won the Do or Die Rumble at GCW Die for this to earn a GCW World Title match, and he will versus Jon Moxley at Hammerstein Ballroom. But that brings us to our AEW Battle of the Belts and Impact Hard to Kill predictions. We're going to start off with AEW Battle of the Belts, which I'm going to be honest, once again, this card is not what I expected for the Saturday night fight events, but this card has experienced a lot of changes over the last week. Of course, in what should be the main event, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, will defend the AEW Women's World Championship against the first champion, Riho. Riho has 3 wins over Britt Baker, and Britt Baker has never defeated Riho, who walks out with the AEW Women's World Championship. Krssi Luv.
Britt Baker.
Rich?
I'm going to go with Britt as well.
Unanimous. Britt it is. For just announced on Rampage last night, Ricky Starks will defend the FTW Championship against Matt Sydal. Who you got in this one, Rich?
Oh, it's going to be absolute Ricky. Team Taz can't be losing to no dudes up in the streets. All the belts.
Team Taz all day. I'm going with Ricky. I'm going Ricky Starks.
Listen, like I said, y'all, I support black-owned businesses.
Yeah.
And that's Team Taz, black-owned business. Absolutely. Yeah. And then finally, it's going to be Dustin Rhodes replacing Cody Rhodes versus Sammy Guevara for the interim TNT Championship. So AEW taking a page out of UFC. The champion is out, so they will determine an interim champion. I'm going with Sammy Guevara to become the interim TNT champion. Who do you got, Krssi?
Sammy,
and who you got, Rich?
I'm going to pick Dustin for the chaos of it.
Rich basically said, I woke up today and I chose violence. I love it. I love it.
Exactly. Yep.
and apparently we have some breaking news.
Oh, Lord.
I've just been informed that the Sasha Banks injury is confirmed, that she is expected to be out of action for 6 to 8 weeks after suffering a foot injury at the Sunday evening at a WWE live event in Fayetteville, North Carolina. So now Sasha Banks is out of the Royal Rumble. Romeo, thanks for joining us.
What is up, everyone? What is up, Rich?
Hey.
Nice to chop it up with you. That's not breaking news. You reported that earlier today in True Hill Heat.
I said the mild sprain can take up to 6 weeks, but we don't know what the
We heard it here first.
Thank you. I'll take it. But yes, that is very interesting news, very disappointing news, but hopefully she's back ahead of WrestleMania at the very least.
I was gonna add another thing. Do you guys like the idea of an interim title? Because to me, it's like Cody's just gonna be back next week, right? I mean,
we don't know that. We don't know that
He might be like Roman and just come back in like 5 days.
As someone who was sick this week and have 1-year-old twins, I had to stay in a whole different house. And my wife is not telling me, the 5 days, you could just come back over there. She said my ass got to stay over there for 10 days. So Cody might be good next week, but he has a less than 1-year-old daughter. So I don't know. If he wants to be on the safe side, he can stay home for a few weeks. You don't have to go back the following week. That's just the new thing. Like,
well, that's why he shouldn't.
I think people assume too much. No,
he shouldn't have won it in the first place.
No, he should have. Sammy's run wasn't going very well. Like, he had good matches, but Cody is a much interesting character to hold the title. And they didn't. There's no way they could have predicted that Cody was going to be out here.
I know.
Yeah, I think if anything, if it's going to be, I chose violence by picking Dustin. But I think Dustin makes sense for me because I don't want Sammy to get bogged down in another crappy run. If Dustin wins it, Scorpio beats Dustin, becomes interim champion, and then he gets to beat Cody to retain it. And then off we go, and it's like now Tony can stick his chest out a little bit and do half a gritty. Don't do the full one because then people could be like appropriation, and now we have to have a chat at the red table.
Absolutely, have that conversation with Antoine Khan.
Johnny, can we put that pic back up? Because this comment, Dustin Rhodes in that pic looking like fuck. Even I know I shouldn't be here. Where the fuck is Scorpio Hobbs?
Great comment by EBB there. I love it. Yeah, where is it? Did you lose it?
Johnny, you sleeping back there, Johnny? Yeah, it does look like that.
It does. Like, oh shit, what am I doing here?
He's like, I'm sorry, y'all.
It's not me. I'm just doing what they tell me to do.
Hey, that's me. That's me, Dustin. Everything's going well. All right, let's get into Impact Hard to Kill. They got a big match card tonight on pay-per-view. On the pre-show, there's going to be a 4-way Jake Something versus Chris Bay versus Ace Austin versus Laredo Kid. X Division 4-way. Who wins on the pre-show? Let's start with Romeo. Who you got? Something, Bay, Austin, or Laredo Kid?
I didn't even know about this match, so I'm caught off guard. Say this again.
Jake Something, Chris Bay, Ace Austin, and Laredo Kid.
Ace Austin.
Who you got, Rich?
Ace as well. I love he's like Gambit as a pro wrestler.
I like that. Krssi Luv?
Ace Austin.
I'm going with Chris Bay. Chris Bay. Anytime Chris Bay's an option, I'm picking Chris Bay. This one should be one that everyone's looking forward to, as Jonah, the artist formerly known as Bronson Reed, will make his Impact pay-per-view debut against former Impact World Champion Josh Alexander. It was Jonah who made his debut at Turning Point and attacked Josh Alexander, laying him out, calling himself the new top dog in Impact Wrestling and busting the ribs of Josh Alexander. He did that yet again on this week's Impact on AXS TV. So who wins this grudge match here? Jonah or the walking weapon, Krssi Luv? Who you got?
I'm going to go with Jonah.
Rich?
Same, Jonah.
Romeo?
Damn. I don't know. But you guys both picked Jonah. I'll be different. Josh Alexander.
I'm going with Jonah. I'm going with Jonah to win this one. Hardcore War. It's going to be the Good Brothers, Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson, and Violent by Designs, Eric Young, Diener, and Joe Doring versus Willie Mack, Rich Swann, Eddie Edwards, Rhino, and Heath. The Good Brothers and Violent by Design have the advantage here. So it's similar to War Games, but no cage, no disqualification, no count out, anything goes, weapons are allowed, 2 guys will start off, and then every couple of minutes, another person will enter until all 5 men on each side are present. Who wins the Hardcore War here? Who you got, Rich?
I'm going to go with Heath, Rhino, Willie, and my man Rich Swann. I think that's and Eddie Edwards. Eddie Edwards, I got to put him in the clay. He would go to the cookout because it looks like he get like a 2-taper. And he already going to the barber, so he could come to the cookout.
He said Eddie come in the shop like, let me get that 2. That 2? No, and he'd be like, let me get that 2, and then I want a 1.5. That's what he'd be saying. He'd be like the 1.5. Who you?
By the end of the year, he gonna have Beijing, and everybody gonna lose their mind. Yeah, put the picture back up for a second. But I'm telling you, by the end of 2022, he's gonna shave it all off. He's gonna have Beijing, and it's just gonna be over for everybody.
Absolutely. Krssi, who you got in the Hardcore War?
I'm going with Heath, Rhino, Edwards, all of those guys on that side that's coming to the cookout. And the birthday party. Yep.
Romeo, who you got?
Baby faces.
I got the cookout folks as well. I agree. I agree. Impact Knockouts tag team titles. It's supposed to be Inspiration versus Influence. I'm guessing Decay will probably replace the Inspiration here. I don't think they're gonna do interim Knockouts tag team titles. But who would you think they're gonna replace the Inspiration with in this matchup? Let's start with you, Romeo.
I'll just go with your idea because I don't have another solution.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know any other female tag team.
I don't know. Yeah.
Decay. Everybody's just Decay. Yeah, seems like it.
But I think Influence wins if that's the case, though.
There you go. Knockouts Ultimate X match, which might put a wrench in our plans here because some people from Decay are in this match. Knockouts Ultimate X is going to be Rosemary, Lady Frost, Tasha Steelz, Alicia, Jordan Grace, and Chelsea Green. The winner becomes the #1 contender for the Knockouts Championship. Rich, who you got in this first ever female Knockouts Ultimate X?
I would go with probably the hot mess, Chelsea Green, because with everything going on with her and her husband across all of wrestling, Impact seems to have the finger on the pulse of stuff going on, so it makes sense that she would be in a prominent position going in.
Krssi, who you got?
I totally agree. Chelsea for the win.
Romeo?
I want to go with Chelsea Green, but I think there's going to be more changes on this Impact pay-per-view, sadly, because you saw the Inspiration is out. They were at the wedding of Chelsea Green and Matt Cardona.
All of them were.
You're right. I didn't even remember that. Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know if they get tested today, if they're quarantining, if they get pulled from their matches today. I think there might be more changes.
Well, Britt was there too.
Britt was there too. Yep.
Yeah. To Romeo's
all
point,
of them was there. Yep.
Did y'all see? Was Ziggler on this week?
No.
Yes.
Because he was there too.
Well, no, Ziggler was on Raw,
right.
but
was he on Raw this week? Because I didn't watch all of Raw.
Yeah. He was on Raw. He was on Raw against Damian Priest. Yeah.
Miz was on
they
there
ain't
too.
testing over there. They ain't testing
Maurice
over
was
there. I forgot they ain't testing over there. They're like, we ain't gotta worry about that.
After the Roman test,
Yeah, they're like, unless y'all want me to, I'm good. We're not gonna do all that. We didn't do all that.
I hate y'all so much. Y'all so stupid. I can't. But yeah, all those people were there that was at WWE. They worked on Monday. They didn't care if there was a party on Saturday.
But yeah, that wedding could throw a whole monkey wrench into everything tonight.
Absolutely.
All those people was there. A lot of people were there. Yep.
If Chelsea's there, that's my pick. If she's not, I'll go with Frost.
I think it's too soon for Frost. I really want to say Tasha Steelz, but because of what I think is going to happen in the Knockouts Championship match, makes me unsure of that. So I'll go with Chelsea Green. I'll actually go with Chelsea Green because then we'll get the matchup that she wants and the person I think is going to win the Knockout Championship wants. Impact X Division Championship on the line. Trey Miguel will go one-on-one with Steve Macklin. If Macklin doesn't win, he is barred from challenging for the title while Miguel is still champion. Steve Macklin was in the three-way where Trey Miguel became the X Division champion back at Bound for Glory. There was another three-way with Rohit Raju at Turning Point where Trey Miguel also won. So this is his third opportunity at the Gold. Does he win it here? I think he does. Steve Macklin for the win for me. Who you got in this one, Miss Krssi Luv?
Is he related to Bob Backlund?
No.
Oh no, Macklin.
No?
Macklin, not Backlin.
Oh, sounds the same. Sorry. Sounds like it's the same.
They're related because it rhymes. Okay.
Okay. I go. I like his name.
Track
So
of these for Krssi throughout the year. That's one.
that's one. I'm gonna go with Mr. Backlund for the win.
Rich, who you got?
I'm gonna go with Backlund too.
Thank you.
Who you got, Romeo? Macklin, Blacklin, or Miguel?
Same. Rich, you missed it. Once upon a time, Miss Krssi Luv called the pandemic a panorama, right?
Yes. Yes.
I call it a panorama. I just like to keep it on a funny note or side of things that we're in this stupid pandemonium. I called it the other day. So yeah, I called it the perpendicular triangle.
The perpendicular triangle. When lovers feel the same way, it's called telekinesis now. So yeah, okay. all that stuff from the mind of
you be you.
Exactly.
Now, do you say Omarion or
Omicron?
Yeah, instead of Omicron, you don't say Omarion.
Perfectly.
You mean Omarion?
Yeah.
The Omarion. What you talking about?
Because I know he's very angry, and I figured if you started the panorama, you might have started Omarion. And he's like, "Listen, I'm tired. I don't know who did it, but I am not a variant."
I'm sick of Krssi.
All the variants are cousins that come to the cookout that we don't like. You know those cousins that the bad cousins, and they always want to touch all your stuff.
No home training.
No home training at all. ROH World Championship is on the line. Jonathan Gresham will defend against Chris Sabin. First time ever ROH World Championship will be defended on an Impact show. So big historic matchup here. Who you got? Gresham versus Sabin, Rich?
Oh, Gresham all the way. My man is going to be the traveling Luthez type going from show to show with this bad boy. So I'm looking to kick it off here.
Romeo?
Oh, yeah. You don't even have to ask.
Krssi?
Across the board.
Unanimous. Jonathan Gresham for the win. I will say this one first. Impact World Championship is on the line because I feel like the other match is a bigger match.
I agree.
Moose will be defending in a three-way against Matt Cardona and W. Morrissey. Yes, maybe Matt Cardona and W. Morrissey. Moose won the...
Yeah.
Moose won the title.
Sorry,
Moose won the Impact World Championship back at Bound for Glory. He then defended the title against Eddie Edwards at Turning Point, and now he versus Matt Cardona, who's been chasing the title because he defeated Matt Cardona in the Call Your Shot gauntlet to win the trophy that got him the title. And W. Morrissey was his former partner and alliance who he betrayed to become the Impact World Champion. So Moose is in the middle with two people that have a bone to pick with him. Who wins here? Cardona, Moose, or Morrissey? Let's start with Miss Krssi Luv.
Moose for the win. Matt Cardona got COVID either because everybody from the reception had it, right?
We about to see. I don't know. It's not
okay,
looking good.
I want Moose to win, so it doesn't even matter. Go ahead.
Rich, who you got?
I'm gonna go with Moose as well. I think it's a little too soon for anybody else right now.
Romeo?
Let's go Moose.
Moose, unanimous. And then finally, the real main event of the evening, Impact Knockouts Championship is on the line. It will be Mickie James defending against Deonna Purrazzo in a Texas death match in Dallas, Texas at the Factory. This has been far and away the best feud in Impact Wrestling for months. These two women went at it at Bound for Glory, with Mickie James defeating Deonna Purrazzo to become a 10-time women's champion, 4-time Knockouts champion. And ever since then, Deonna Purrazzo has been more aggressive, has changed herself to become this more aggressive version of herself, and leading to this Texas death match, which should be brutal. Who wins and walks out the Knockouts champion? Does Mickie James go into Royal Rumble with the Impact Knockouts title, or does Deonna Purrazzo become 2-belt Deonna once again? Rich, who you got?
I'm gonna go with Deonna, and I think it's just, I think it's set up for Roxy.
Ooh, I wouldn't mind that. Romeo, who you got?
This is the match I'm looking most forward to out of both cards tonight. I am going with Deonna getting her belt back, getting that W over Mickie. By the way, that Mickie James interview you did on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel, I loved it. She's just so affable and likable. She's awesome.
Great stuff. She gave me tips on the kids during the holidays. Mickie James is just fantastic, and she pretty much gave away that she was going back to WWE in that interview, because she was very adamant about saying she had unfinished business with Charlotte, with Becky Lynch. There was a lot of things she wanted to accomplish still in WWE. So weeks before, I should have been tipped off, but I had no idea.
And Charlotte said Mickie James is in the Rumble? I'm in the Rumble.
Absolutely. Krssi, who you got? Mickie, Deonna?
Deonna for the win.
I'm going to agree with you guys. Deonna, once again, becomes the Knockouts champion. A couple of comments to highlight here before we wrap things up. Annika Wilson says, Mickie James, keep that belt on her until Royal Rumble. We also got Frantic World says, AEW open up the forbidden door, and Impact is using it a lot. They was like, you made the door, but we going to be the ones using it all the time.
Yep.
We also got Nick Jackson. He said he's going for Chelsea Green and Ultimate X. And also EBB saying this will be a fantastic match. Gresham, of course, for the win. Yes, Hard to Kill is going to be great.
The Rumble stuff, does that make you think just a tiny, tiny bit Mickie could win?
No.
No?
No.
All right. Just
no, not at all. But that brings us to a close. You can order Impact Hard to Kill on Fight TV, but we're going to be here tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time right here on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel. Live watch along of AEW Battle of the Belts, as well as Impact Hard to Kill, hosted by Romeo himself. So watch along with the gang. You can see our reactions like you saw during this edition.
I'm not updating these graphics again. Don't pull anybody. I'm not updating it.
You will have to, friend.
You heard the man. You heard the man. But that brings us to a close on True Heel Heat 157. I want to thank Rich Fann. My God, this was a great episode. I will never forget you redubbing Hulk Hogan Terrence from Florida. We will be calling him Terrence from Florida from now on, and it's all due to you, Rich. Please. He waited for it.
That's awesome.
Yo, why did you put
Oh my God, Rich! Please let the people know where they can hear some of this great insight on social media and what you're doing over on PWTorch, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on Twitter at Rich_Fan, F-A-N-N. Oh my God, I'm still like, it's blown my mind. And then if you search PWTorch, I do a couple of shows on there. The Deep Dive. I co-host Radican Worldwide with Sean Radican. On the paid side, if you go VIP, it's like $9 a month. So if you get Starbucks, that's like basically a coffee and a sandwich.
A day,
you do it in a month, and you get to hear.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I do like the brioche on that bacon egg, but I digress. Check it out there. You can search anywhere you see the torch. I'm probably going to show up at some point. I also do a lot of work over at Post as a special guest over at the Nubian Wrestling Advocates, and or anything that WH Park tells me to watch, I will watch and comment with him. Thank you all for the time. I always joke about with wrestling media, it's like we don't have a forbidden door. It's like a gate. It's like you can hop over the gate, you can open the gate, it's a little squeaky.
Climb
like,
it,
it ain't no thing. Y'all welcome to come over to the torch, do any of my shows. This is great, and I hope for the folks listening on YouTube, hopefully 2022's kicked off well for you. I always say on my show, try to go beyond where you think you can go plus ultra. Just keep pushing. I know it's tough right now, but just keep pushing.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Rich. Miss Krssi Luv, as always, making us laugh, making us smile. Where can the people follow you?
Well, you can always find me on this very day as every Saturday. We do True Hill Heat with my good brothers, SP, Top Guy JJ, who is out working, but we love you and we miss you. I am now with my new good brother, well, my good brothers that's up on the top. Well, he's over there. It doesn't even fucking matter. Romeo.
Doesn't even fucking matter.
You can find us we do SmackDown. Me, Josh, SP might fly in one day or two, who knows? But we're gonna review SmackDown for Tim's Turnbuckle, which was very fun. We dropped our first episode, which was great. We had a laugh. Please don't watch it. Other than that, you can find me on IG, Twitter, and on Facebook. It is Krssi Luv _1 or just Krssi Luv on my name, which is Crystal Lynch.
Absolutely. Got to make you laugh there. You can find me on the Twitter machine at TrueHeelSP3. My written work is over on sportskita.com as well as WrestleTalk.com. You can also see me on the Believe in Pro Wrestling podcast with Rick Utino. You can also subscribe over there to Believe, BLEAV, in Pro Wrestling. We have a YouTube channel that's up with all the episodes from this past week where we started, and also Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel. You can see me every Friday on Smack Talk. Romeo, you have any plugs for us?
Yes, first of all, shout out to the good brother Nate Milton, leaving a comment showing love.
Hey, brother Nate is here. He had to come through to see Rich, and we got a super chat donation as well from EBB, who says, "Great stream. Rich was hilarious. Have a great day, everyone." We want everyone here to also have a great day as well. Romeo, your final plug.
True Hill Romeo on Twitter and Instagram, and also Rated Raw Superstars, either watch-alongs or reviews on Monday nights with me and Drunk Guy JJ. NX3 on Tuesdays. We cover NXT. Watch-alongs like tonight. Join us. It'll be fun. And yeah, that's it.
And also check out, like Krssi and Romeo said, the SmackDown review over on Teddy Turnbuckle YouTube channel. These guys did a great job along with Josh reviewing the show. You can check that out. And right now on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, check out my exclusive interview for True Hill's BTR with former ROH star Shane Taylor. Want to thank Rich Fann once again for joining us. Want to always thank Miss Krssi Luv, Romeo. It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. This has been True Hill Heat 157. New year, new releases. Until next Saturday, we are signing off until next time.